There we go.
If they're not moving, they look fine. But the moment one of those fucking
Really? The
eight-legged
animations?
centipede-looking pandas try to move, yes, they look like.
Why not just make the Half-Life 3 cupcake and sell it to everybody, right? Even if it leaves a terrible taste in your mouth, people will still have bought your cupcake. And the analogy breaks at some point, so bear with me, right?
And this one time, my mom bought me a shirt, and I was in high school, and I'd been powerlifting and then stopped. So I was like, fucking 280 or something like that. And they were buying for 190-pound kid. So it was like a medium. And I put that on, and it was like a sausage roll with legs, man. And my mom would not stop demanding I put it on. And I'm like, put it on, put it on. Your grandma wants to see it. This might be her last year alive. And I'm like, well, we're not going to die and have the last memory in her life be of me squeezed into this thing like a toothpaste. He'd have dinosaurs delivering your What if all you heard was a scratching at your door? And it's like,
It has really small hands, so it can't really carry
and
stuff.
so it's like, it's got the box, but it's holding it like a like this. It's all, here's your pill.
You
But
might need to package that.
it'd be a
in
surprise
more
mechanic.
marketable format.
Occasionally, the box would
Surprise
open,
mechanic,
and there
there you
wouldn't be
go.
a Tyrannosaurus in it. And other times, so what if there was $1 million in one canister? You drop a railroad car, soundproof, so you can't tell. You drop a railroad car, and there's either a rabid Tyrannosaurus, probably already rabid. So, but you get a Tyrannosaurus in one, maybe some guns on him,
Fairly.
and then the other one's got $1 million. And you're like, everybody go there, and if you open the door, surprise, you get one or the other. They look like. My audio on. All right, there we go. Sup, everybody? This is Karak with ACG, and I'm here with Reg and Silver and Johnny for the International Podcast. You will notice that Silver is in Italy with a better webcam than he's got at his own house. Don't know how that's possible.
Straight from Italy.
Straight from...
Silver, what's the situation in
Yeah,
Italy?
exactly. Our man on the streets.
Noisy, but pretty cozy. Quiet.
It's
inside.
not too bad, though, dude. Like, your audio, I mean, it's condensed, but, like...
Yeah, I mean, the dog has stopped yapping now, so that's improved. I think they've taken it away. But,
So we've got Silver here from war-torn Italy. He's going to explain to us the current situation there from the front lines. Reg's computer barely works. My battery ran out. Johnny showed up perfect. But I do know that it's podcast 264. Boom. At least I think. But that's the number I've got. So podcast number 264. Thanks for joining us. International Podcast Day was yesterday, but the International Podcast is today. So I've asked all of the nations to move the International Podcast Day to Friday. So that'll be it for us today. We've got a bunch of stuff, but I wanted to read these guys some news. Now, I've checked, and this has yet to be considered not true news. And there was a police report about this as well, but here we go. This was awesome. This is what I woke up to. In news today that nobody expected, a ninja recently attacked Army Special Operators soldiers while they were training in California. We're being completely serious. Now is also a good time to point out that nobody was seriously injured in the attack, and the perpetrator was subsequently arrested. Stars and Stripes first reported on Thursday. Here's how it all went down. According to a partial incident report that was shared on Reddit, originally it was shared on Reddit, but then I looked into this, police reports, everything. A spokesperson for the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment confirmed to Task and Purpose that the incident occurred. In the early morning hours of September 18th, an individual clad head to toe in ninja garb and carrying a katana sword approached a staff sergeant with the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment outside an administrative building at a hangar at an airport in the Mojave Desert where members of the unit were training. A quick note for any diehard ninja fans. It wouldn't be that. It would actually be a ninja toe sword and not a katana, but whatever. The incident report said the perpetrated ninja approached a soldier who was minding his own... Tell me this isn't a game. Who was minding his own business, smoking a cigarette, and the ninja asked, "Do you know who I am?" To which the staff sergeant replied, "No," though it stands to reason his inner monologue may have something like, "What the fuck?" Then the master of the dark arts of ninjutsu asked, "Do you know where my family is?" Yet again, staff sergeant replied, "No." There's a soldier doing his thing, long day of training, 160th, standing out there in the middle of nowhere, and suddenly a dude shows up. According to the partial incident report, at that time, the person in ninja guard began slashing at the staff sergeant, striking his phone, his knee, and leg. The soldier immediately took off running. In an effort to evade his attacker, the soldier made his way through the parking lot before jumping a fence and entering the nearby admin building. Once inside, the soldier and the captain immediately began locking doors and called law enforcement. Now, they haven't shot him yet, which I'm still completely baffled by, but whatever. The call was documented by the Ridgecrest Police Department in daily logs, which noted on September 18th, dispatchers received 2 calls from soldiers, one reporting there was a man in a ninja outfit with a sword running amok. The other stated the soldiers were hunkered down in a hangar, wondering where help was. They found him, didn't kill him. I just wanted to say that somewhere out there is a real live ninja attacking people. Like, that's
not
the
a very
best
good
news.
one, was
Yeah, I
But
mean,
he
the
had to
point
have
is
been good. He got
not to
into
be
the
seen.
military base and then attacked the
That's
guy.
true.
I
And
mean,
but then he announced himself.
yeah, well, he was looking for his family, which was quite important to him, apparently. So, I mean, that was his mission. It sounds like a video
Bruce
game.
Willis on them, like, "Where's my family, bitch?"
Dude, I was reading it just this morning. I woke up and it's like ninja attacks, and I'm like, oh, it's The Onion, right? I'm like, it must be The Onion. It must be something like that. Nope, that's... If anybody has any further information about that, that's something that Takedown and I used to do, was find just the dumbest, weirdest news in the world, and apparently... I've been outdone because I don't think I would have ever thought that would be a true bit of news. But there you have it. Ninjas attacking United States government officials. And he wasn't killed, which surprises me. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if I was attacked with a ninja sword, I'd probably be stomping the shit out of people. I'd probably be shooting people.
You'd probably panic if someone pulls out an actual sword, right? Like, whoa!
So in martial arts, one of the things you do here is motor setting, where if both people are quick twitch, then you can react quicker. But if somebody lulls you into a false sense of this pace, they can then half beat you and beat you to a punch. They can, like, that's why feints work, because they're on an offbeat. What's interesting here is the guy just walks up and he's like, "Do you know where my family is?" And maybe that made the guy go, "What the fuck?" And then also he's probably like, "I'm in the middle of the United States on a military base. It can't be real. It's got to be a training exercise. So I'm not going to shoot the guy."
Yeah.
You know, I'm assuming that's, I'm
Also, do you know who I am? That's some
Yeah,
Heisenberg shit. Like,
dude, that's scary. Yeah, if he just shows up out of the darkness, like you're smoking a cigarette, he just shows up. Now I've got him levitating in my mind. I don't know why. Now he's suddenly levitating. So this ninja's levitating. He just levitating. He's like, "Do you know who I am?" What? No. Why would I? You're wearing a mask. How would I even know? You're a ninja, maybe at the most. Let's see. Scap says, "Silver's in color. Looks so much happier." I think color does. I think color does work really well, especially that, man. What are you using, Silver? What kind of phone? We're waiting for him to pause.
It's a Motorola G7.
Motorola G7. There's your best sales pitch for a Motorola G7, is that it works better than the shitty 720 webcam that Karak can send you for free. Let's see. Reading all this stuff. No Florida man is in this story? ? Nope. This was not a Florida man story. That was the day prior when the guy trapped the alligator inside of a trash bin, which was an amazing video. If you haven't got a chance to see just how it's got to be Far Cry 6 advertising. Like, that's what I was like, there's got to be some joke to this. But this and it's not a small alligator. That thing is a good size alligator. It's
that
real.
happened?
Dude, a guy's wearing, well, you guys would call them flip-flops, I think. But he's wearing flip-flops, socks, shorts, and he's talking to somebody. He's like, yeah, man, what? No, tomorrow maybe. You want to play some Madden or what? I don't know what he's saying. And then he's just scooting the recycling bin towards towards this alligator that's like laying down 5.5, 6 feet. I'm going to tell you right now, maybe it wouldn't kill you, but it would fuck you up for life. It would scar you. Dogs can kill, and they're smaller than that. So obviously it could kill you. But yeah.
Yeah.
Florida. That was Florida, right? You always got to have at least one Florida story.
Right.
Jonathan's in here. Welcome. Angry Adam. John from DGAF. I wonder if that's NeoGAF. DGAF. What's DGAF mean? Agent 47 confirmed for silver. That is true. Oh, no. I think he means the ninja. Either one. I'm baffled he wasn't shot as he ran into a government building. That's something we talked about with the sorry, my beeped. That's something we talked about a couple months ago with when the people went into the United States, the Capitol. And yep. I was just telling my friends, I'm like, dude, my only question isn't that it happened or anything like that. It's that why weren't they gunned down? Because I've seen Olympus Has Fallen. Isn't that true? Probably not. But Gerard Butler offed a couple dozen people. You would assume that they would just shoot people. I didn't realize Silver would be on this week. The man coming in to you from foreign lands. Yeah, see, Sleeve, even when he's not around, he does more than you. Oh, I said it. I'm just joking, Sleeve. What happened to the classic black and white filter for Silver? He's traveling. Speaking of traveling, how have you enjoyed yourself, Silver? Tell me a story.
I got the pleasure when I was staying in, I landed in Napoli, stayed there a couple of days. Then I drove to Minori, which is a small city a town on the Amalfi Coast between Salerno and Amalfi. I stayed there for 3 days at a family hotel where I got to see the hotel owner teach his little son, like 3 or 4 years old, how to ride a bike. And like the entire family went out to help eventually. Like it became an entire family thing, which is very nice to see.
Dude, that's wholesome.
It is.
Yeah, it was.
That's way more wholesome than I was expecting. A good story. Not as cool as the alligator. Wholesome bike riding, but no alligator chased him, right?
I could tell you terrifying stories of the traffic in Napoli because I'm renting a car, so I'm driving around in Italian traffic.
Brave man.
Yeah, I mean, red lights to the Italians are advisory. They will happily cross them.
They're just an option.
Like pedestrian crosswalks are a waste of paint. Nobody pays any attention to them. People park wherever they like. If you're in the middle of the road, like sometimes you're driving on a really narrow road and there are parked cars along both sides. There's not a single parking space, and then somebody's just parked the car, in the middle of the lane. Like, oh, I can't find a space. Well, fuck it.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, like in the middle of intersections, in the middle of pedestrian crossovers. Yeah.
Reg has been there too?
Well, I've been to Italy plenty of times, so yeah.
Gotcha. Have you been to Italy, Johnny?
No, never.
Me neither. I feel like we're left out in some way.
Yeah.
I don't think that doesn't sound fun to me though, because I'd get stressed out if I saw people just parking everywhere. I mean, I do believe in rules. Like if I saw that shit, I'd just start kicking doors in. I'd be like, "Fuck you!"
It can get stressful, especially when you're driving on really narrow mountain roads, where sometimes there's only really room for one car, and you have like a minibus tour right behind you with an angry Italian driver honking at you to go faster, but you don't want to go faster because you need to stick to the corner so that you don't run into an oncoming car at the blind. At the blind corner, but he wants to go faster, and he's there behind you honking with a musical horn all the time. That can get a little stressful.
Well, we're going to talk about some cool stuff this week. A little bit of a de-stressor. There's a lot of games coming out in October. That's why we named it the October Weekend or the October Podcast. I did go and asked everybody. I asked people to fill out the poll on YouTube as well as Twitter, and basically October games won out as being the thing they wanted us to talk about. Not many people were interested in the Sony Bluepoint. We'll talk about it, but it wasn't a major topic that people wanted, really probably wanted us to discuss. And I think that would make sense since it is a remaster. you know, their remasters, remakes, and now they're making their own thing, which I think we all probably assumed, but we won't know about it for 3 or 4 years. So, it's very cool that that's happened. We'll definitely discuss it. But prior to that, let's talk about a couple games you guys have been playing. Go ahead, Reg. Is there anything you've been leaping into?
I finished Pathfinder.
How many hours?
130 about.
Woo.
And
with 100 of those
exclusively-
hours in that fortress battle, right? In that first.
It feels like it. No, exclusively in real-time combat mode. So I can't even imagine what it would take like in turn-based.
Crazy.
Probably like 500 hours or something. So no, I only real-time with pause. And that's pretty much it with games. I tried to play New Worlds, didn't really get in a whole lot because it was mostly just looking at the queue status. And apart from that, just relaxing after finishing Pathfinder with some anime. That's
Copy that.
more TV week after that.
Well, that's good because that's one of our Discord questions. I think is about that. Oh no, one of the questions I think we got audio is about that. So Johnny, what about you? What have you been playing?
Yeah, so I finished the base game of Ghost of Tsushima. It was excellent. And I also played The Artful Escape, which people have recommended it to us nonstop, right, for a couple weeks. And I liked it so much that I actually did a video on it to kind of showcase it because it's one of those people can tell you about the game, but it's really hard to sell it to you. Whereas
Okay,
if you,
sell it to me.
well, that you're putting me in the position that
I
I
am.
said is
Go.
difficult. It made me want to play guitar because the way the game goes, you play and the world kind of reacts to you playing, and the playing is amazing. It's this inspired guitar playing, goes from like shredding to more jazzy tunes, and I found it super inspired with full voice acting. They got some big names like Lena Headey, I think. I think that's her name, Cersei from Game of Thrones. But anyways, it's beautifully voice acted. The music is incredible, and it's the journey of this guy trying to find his own person. He's supposed to be this folk guitar player, a folk artist. His uncle is super famous, and he's meant to like step into his shoes, but instead he has this different persona that he is finding and learning to accept and show to the world. It's I found it very charming and inspiring.
That's good. No, that sold it. And I mean, you did a pretty good job because no one else really told us what it was.
There we go.
Yeah.
You guys remember that? They were like, "Hey, man,
Yeah.
did you not play it?" No, what is it? It's a game. Anyway,
You gotta play it.
fuck you for not playing it. You're just like, what about you, Silver? You've been traveling, so probably nothing. Or Hitman 3 in real life, maybe?
Yeah, no, I've just been mostly unplugged, just keeping in touch with friends and stuff, and the Discord, unplugged
Yeah, it's
from
so
news, games, whatever.
it's so funny. You can't even tell you're not there because now you're here too. Because I didn't. Once
Yeah.
Reg said he didn't know if you were going to be around, I was like, oh, okay, he is on vacation because you're still pretty active in the Discord. That's how cool our Discord is. He goes somewhere else, and the only connection he still has is with the
Absolutely.
Discord. He's like, screw it, man. Everything else, girls, hotties, Italian hotties are walking up, and they're like, I don't
Yeah.
know how to do an Italian.
Yeah, it's
They're-
like, wait.
yeah, and he's like, hang
all
on,
good.
let me ask Karak if this is okay, because we may be doing a pod. Whoa, lady, whoa, I got a podcast to do. Knock it off. For me, I've been playing. Man, so I'm playing Far Cry. I can definitely not talk about it, but I can definitely say that. There's another one I don't know if I can say. I got 3 or 4 videos in. As you guys have noticed, there's been a lot more videos on the channel. That's pretty much just moving the stuff around the studio around, and patrons sort of supporting some of the walking the walks that I probably like, because I'm doing a new one, but I also went back and rejiggered the Uncharted one because the Uncharted one had some data that was wrong, especially because they patched it, which is very cool. So I reposted that, did horrible numbers, probably the thumbnail. I'm hoping. I have no clue why it did, but that was fun to do, and it is because of the patrons. Like I was going back and looking, YouTube has been a disaster money wise. Like YouTube is now close to just being like, what the fuck? So it's like with the patrons, I was able to do that, asked a couple of them what they wanted. There'll be some new stuff maybe next week. We'll have to see how the timing is, but there's a lot of games, guys, and we're going to talk about them. It's an exciting friggin' time for games. And then Reg was bringing up that, we're going to have to circle back around in February for the same kind of thing, because February looks to be... I don't think any of us believe February is going to stay the way it is. It's only 1 month, man. There's
Something's
Even
gotta
if you
move.
cut it in half, it's still a lot.
You mean cut the amount of games in half?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's still, and I mean, February has had occasional busy years, but most of the time February, in years past, most of the time February isn't super busy. So it's going to be very fun to see those. What's everybody been playing in the Discord here or in the chat? Artful Escape looks good. This person played it, liked it. New World. We'll talk about that first. So,
Yes.
Reg.
The menu looks nice.
Or like I called it today, Q World, because
Q World.
that's-
I even have the joke at the
Or
starting
something,
of this
maybe.
video. The queue goes all the way down to 1 and then back up to 99 right prior to us going live now. So once you get in, so we all know, and we'll talk about that in a second, but once you get in, what are you experiencing?
Although to that I still can add, they have added, at least in Europe, enough servers now that if you join now, you don't have a queue if you go to one of the new servers.
Oh,
The old servers still have a lot of queue for the characters that are already created there.
oh.
But there's plenty of new servers now.
Okay, that's good news. That's good news. All right, so that's one thing. So there you go. They're at least working on it. But
Yeah.
okay, so when you get in, what are you doing?
Well, I didn't do anything new yet, apart that I didn't do in the beta, because the beta was the same content. It's the same opening. It's the same everything, basically.
Okay.
So you start with a very short tutorial that's just how do you attack, how do you heavy attack, how do you block, how do you climb over stuff. That takes like maybe 5 minutes. And then you're through the super basic tutorial. And then you have 3 opening quests before you go to town. Everybody spawns in a random location around the map. So if you want to play with someone else together, with a friend, and manage to get on the same server, then you can have to either run halfway across the map if you're unlucky to start playing together right from the get-go, or you do like the first half hour or so of questing separately and then join together in town.
Okay.
So it's not like a Forza Horizon situation where you have to play 4 hours, 5 hours, or whatever,
Yeah.
until you can play together. It's fairly short, and
Okay.
then you can just meet up. The towns are super busy right now. I mean, no wonder. There's 2,000 players, I think, per server, and everything's crawling. Like it's definitely the new game rush going on. Takes me back to the Guild Wars 2 days when that launched, because it was basically just a Zerg moving through the map, killing everything.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much going on here as well. The spawn rate accordingly is set so high that stuff pretty much immediately respawns as soon as you have killed it, so that people don't have to wait around. It works well once you get in. I think the queues have been taken care of now. The only issue I see with those is that the server transfer is not live yet. They have announced that in 2 or 3 weeks there will be at least a one-time free server transfer for people, so they can meet up with friends on the same server, but that's not live yet. So if you have already invested a considerable amount of time in one of the overfilled servers, then you're pretty much stuck waiting in the queue every time you want to play. In my case, I was level 10. That's like maybe 1.5 hours of game time, if that. So today I just decided to delete my character and restart on the server that was without a queue.
Combat, more action-packed, far less button.
Combat is more action-packed. You have your regular left-click attack, your right-click block. If you have sword and shield, which I do, that's the starting weapon, and I stuck to that combo so far. And you have a heavy attack as well as 3 active skills that are, activated with keys on the keyboard. And I think 2 weapons, so you can switch between 2 weapons.
Other than the graphics, which I don't know. Maybe
they're not amazing. No.
Well, they're not, but they're still okay. It's just what bothers me is every time we get a new, ignoring the queue thing for a second, we always get new city syndrome. You know, where the cities run like shit, and it's like, why don't you guys test at 2,000 people in your city, like so that we don't get a 5. FPS
definitely the most players are in the cities, or at least they congregate in the cities because crafting is there, housing is there, everything's in the city, as well as the faction vendors are in the city. There's 3 factions you can join, but it still runs okay-ish for me. But that's on a 2080 Ti. If you have something lower, then I would imagine that outside the cities, it still runs fine on higher settings, but in the cities, it might chug a bit.
And then the queue thing, first of all, that's some disingenuous shit. So I just want to put I'm not gonna argue with anybody because I just feel that I'm right and that if I'm wrong, we're fucked. But people are saying, oh, if Amazon can't do their servers right, then we should let everybody get off with, a free pass.
Well, that's the wrong way around.
And to me, that's exactly the opposite. And it has to do with Amazon. That doesn't have to do with a smaller company. And by the way, we have had MMOs do well. Another thing I stated on Twitter, I said, man, New Worlds is popular and is doing gangbusters. And people are like, they all do gangbusters. Bull fucking shit. 4% of MMOs do gangbusters. 4%. What you guys are remembering, not you guys listening, because maybe you agreed, but if you don't agree with that, go look at the number of MMOs that release. What you're remembering is the big MMOs. In fact, the first person who argued with me was like, well, Star Wars did good. And I'm like, are we going to have that discussion? Do we have to even start there?
Like you take one of the most popular IPs and it's like,
Guild Wars 2 was the other one. I'm like, a sequel to a super popular MMO or Star Wars. You let it. That's just this is a brand new one that looks like it looks a little bit like Greedfall in a way. So
yeah, it does. Yeah.
It just bothers me. Yeah, it absolutely is one of those things that whenever I hear that and you see that queue, which is ridiculous, man. That queue is insane.
And I mean, in comparison, I was lucky in quotation marks because the European queues were nowhere near as bad as the American ones. Like they were at 5 times that.
I saw one that was like 156 hours or something.
Yeah.
RDX Son of Fett says, Last Stand Media take BS, especially after last night. Last Stand Media take BS. I'm sorry, man. I don't know what that means. I think that's
try a bit harder. You can do better than that.
Yeah, or maybe not an English speaker, but I'm not 100% sure what that means. Thank you for the super chat. Feel free to I'll keep an eye on whatever you're saying and try to if you can rephrase that so I can figure out what it is. Yeah, man. Dude, it's cool to see one do that people want to play. Like that's one nice thing. I did find that the very small amount of customization I did was the very small amount of customization allowed. There's not a lot of customization. Did you feel that?
I mean, I did my usual. I did randomize until I was happy.
Damn, son. Dude, you got to stare at that guy for so long. You just did.
Yeah, but I only see his back anyway.
True. Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. Cutscenes, right? You would. Or wait a minute. Are cutscenes third person?
You talk to people and then you see the other person. So.
Yeah, true.
Unless you actively pan around your camera so you look at your face, it doesn't matter.
That's true.
Like in real life, other people have to deal with your face.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, did you guys hear that news? That one editor thing was flipping people's faces so that you got to finally see what you look like to other people, and it was devastating to people. Yeah. Devastating.
Exactly.
Yeah, dude, it's the same thing when you first hear your voice, right? And you're like, "Oh my god, I sound like this," because your head is a perfect resonator for your own voice. You know, it's almost like a shower. Everybody thinks they can sing well in the shower, and then once you get out, you're like, dude, you can't sing at all. Silver, are you gonna play New World when you get home? Because you're a fan of some MMOs, right?
I mean, I haven't played an MMO since Old Republic, so probably not. Especially like the survival aspect of there's a survival aspect to New World, right?
Yeah, very survival. I mean, crafting, lots of items.
There's some crafting, but you don't get hungry.
Oh, yeah, you don't get okay.
Right, it's just a crafting element then.
Yeah.
I mean that could maybe, but no, honestly, with everything else coming out, I don't see getting into an MMO.
All right. What about you, Johnny? You gonna get into this one?
I was on the fence, and I decided to not do it. Everybody else can have it. It felt like one of those Valheim situations where, everybody's jumping on the train, and I'm not feeling it. So I'm just, everybody else can sort of enjoy it, and I may jump in later on. But
so RDX says, Dustin. Abel says, donators talking about how PS acquisitions are okay, but when MS does it, Sony fanboys rage. Okay, you may think that, but again, it's sort of like what we just talked about. You're just seeing whatever you're seeing to fit whatever viewpoint. There are people who bitch when Sony does it. They're for sure. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And if you're talking about like me and you don't like what I'm saying, or a podcast, then I would say, you may have to either just ignore it, because we all listen to people or watch shows that we don't, you don't like every character in a TV show or what have you. You may just have to skip that data if you don't like what the person is saying. I don't think I said it. I don't know if you're talking about another podcast, but yeah, people have different thoughts. I would say for the most part, when we go into our Discord and Sony buys something, I hear people bitch. When Microsoft buys stuff, I hear people bitch, and usually I'm the one actually not taking devil's advocate, but being like, all right, especially like this is remasters and remakes, right? And this is a company that already worked with them forever. So to me, I don't know, Bluepoint makes sense. Don't we all agree that technically Bluepoint was owned by Sony anyway? I mean,
Well, it's like the Forza guys.
Yeah, Playground.
I mean, they're closely
Playground.
affiliated, yeah.
Yeah. So, I get you. I get you, but don't worry about it, because guess what, guys? If Bluepoint is only porting, let's say Sony or making Sony stuff, another company now has that ability to step into that third party role, and they might make games for multiple systems, which is something Bluepoint didn't do. Let's see. Been enjoying CK3 murdering my own kids. God, good times. Good times. Did you guys see Paradox canceled a bunch of games?
No.
Yeah, they took a huge hit financially. So the news this morning, I don't know if you guys saw this, but the news this morning in chat saw this. Yeah, Paradox canceled a bunch of games that they were planning on releasing. And so I don't know if you guys know this, but a couple years ago, a CEO stepped in for the other CEO. And their plan was to make Paradox not only get the things that they're getting, and we've seen the purchases lately, but also expand their category of games past CK and other titles of that ilk. And then about 6 months ago, that CEO said, I'm leaving because I don't agree with the stance that the company is now wants to take. So then the old CEO took back over and canceled all these games, and now Paradox is just those few games that they're known for, which really sucks. The only one that isn't currently, in that slate is Vampire Bloodlines 2. But I have this, that's in purgatory. Like, I just don't, I think a lot of us just need to look at that game and say, if ever, you're still looking at 24 now, 2024. I mean,
yep.
Dude, everybody's gone. So, and who knows what Paradox, is Paradox going to sell the IP, or sell that ability to make it? Just don't know. But yeah, so if you guys didn't see that news, check it out. Paradox decided to dump that. Let's see. Looking here. So Johnny wrote this. Twisted Metal coming to the PS5.
Yeah, so there were comments of Twisted Metal being now made for the PS5.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I haven't played any Twisted Metals, so maybe you guys can weigh in. Like, is this something that excites you? I know there were rumors of that being done at some point, but now to know that it is in the works.
Yeah, Chad, are you guys excited about that? What about you guys? Reg, Silver, Twisted Metal, that's
Yeah, I mean, Twisted
remember
Metal
his
was fun back in the day. So a new one, yeah. I mean, it's a darker Mario Kart in some ways. Except
Mhm.
it's not really about racing. It's just about destroying each other.
Yeah, slaughtering one another.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, that could be a lot of fun. Like a next gen version of it, definitely. I would definitely look forward to that.
What about you, Reg?
I have never played any of those games, so
Oh wow, really?
yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Name band again. I love this. What percentage of super chat goes to the channel with a $20 super chat? I could be wrong, but I thought super chats fully go. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it's a larger amount of super chats go. By the way, thank you very much for the super chat. But yeah, I'll check. But I'm pretty sure it's a very high amount. I could be wrong. Could be wrong on that. Yeah, for this, I mean, dude, look at what Hot Wheels did this week.
Yes.
I mean, from what I've been told, this new Hot Wheels is awesome. So like a Twisted Metal, you know, these kind of more arcadey kind of titles. And from what I've talked to two people who played the new Hot Wheels, and we saw somebody in our Discord, they got it for their son, and they were playing it. They were like, "This game
I'm
is
enjoying
good."
it a lot as well.
Oh, you've got it.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's quite good.
you've got it. What? Yeah. So give us some highlights. So what it? Yeah, just overall,
Yeah.
what is it?
It looks incredible. There's something about, you know, like the detail in the models, and at the same time, there's no driver, so you know there is a lot of detail that's not there by design.
Yeah.
But what's there is so detailed that it is very reminiscent of the actual Hot Wheels. I used to have a couple as a
And paint
kid.
rubs off on the corners, right? Like
Yes.
like a real Hot Wheels. That's pretty cool.
And you can customize your liveries, and you can grab from all the people who have uploaded theirs, which is what I do because I'm not talented with, you know, doing my own. But you have like different textures on the materials and stuff. You know, the one that's like really glittery, like the actual Hot Wheels. I really like that one, and it's kind of an enchanting thing to go through these. And you're driving around, and all of a sudden you're on the kitchen counter. You know, you're under the couch and stuff like that. This
is full driving, no explosives, right? No guns.
No,
this is okay.
Nothing like that. It's just the driving, and all the cars are the same. No cars have like superpowers or anything like that.
Okay.
The difference is in handling, turbo, different things like that. But I will say you have to get through a lot of very basic tracks in the beginning until you get to the exciting ones. So there are 44 campaign tracks, and I would say easily the first third is quite basic, or rather basic.
Okay.
And then it starts quite quickly to get very interesting. And I think for me, the juice is going to be in the community-made tracks, because the track editor is really powerful and intuitive. And I just can't wait to see what all the community can sort of come up with, and jumping in with friends to play those custom maps.
And there's no mic, or there's no money in this, right? There's no...
At the moment, there isn't.
Cool.
I will say that the mode in which you acquire new cars is quite dodgy. So you need to use in-game currency to buy new cars. You have like a blind box for 500 units, let's say, which already takes you 10 races to get, to give you an idea. Or you can pay something like a higher amount to get a specific car, or
but
specific
all
cars
in-game money.
It's all in-game money. Currently, there's no like plugging external money to buy stuff.
And there's no store tab or anything?
There is a shop tab.
Okay.
But it's only in-game money as of now. Yeah.
Damn. That's awesome. Awesome. That's so great, man. That's like,
and it plays great, dude. The driving is arcadey, but feels good with the drifting. Yeah, it's solid.
So I did hear somebody else say that that cars are a little difficult to, you know, absolutely like just end up getting at a high amount. But you're saying that as you get money, you can also choose cars that you or
yeah. So there's a small pool of cars that rotates that you can buy. So at any given time, you can buy 3 cars, I think, with that currency. and that rotates, so it just refreshes the cars that you can buy every now and then.
Gotcha. Reg or Silver, probably not getting this, right? Yeah.
Well,
I might actually like for
Oh,
just
really?
multiplayer with some friends. Yeah. Could
Oh
be
yeah,
fun.
it's what about multiplayer, Johnny? So full friends lists, all that kind of stuff.
right. So you create like a private lobby if you like to play with friends, and you select what track to play and what mode and etc. You can't do any campaign or anything like that with friends, but it is like that. There's also matchmaking if you just want to play with randos.
I mean, right now, with no currency, this is one of the reasons why maybe getting into a game early might make sense.
Yes.
Before they add it.
It does look like they could add it in the future.
Yeah.
To be
Well, I mean,
totally honest.
and they can add it to anything. It's like it's like at least right now they're not in there, and maybe you jump in, you start playing, and you enjoy it. And the people who want to play longer, then we'll see if they add it. But overall, from what I've been told, there isn't any, and there's no store. So we'll see. We'll see what they do. But I don't worry too much about them. Like if there isn't any right now, there aren't any. It's just like this is the way it is, and maybe they'll patch it and they'll offer even more down the line, or maybe they'll do DLC packs or something, and which is fine with me too. It just all depends. But I was surprised, man. I saw multiple people saying that they really were enjoying that game, really having a good time with that. So it's cool to see those arcade racers doing well. I'm definitely excited for it. Let's see. Let's do the reviews, because that's the next section up here. So just so everybody knows what these are games that either I have had a preliminary impressions video on and I'm going to give final reviews, or one of the guys has played, talked about in the past, and then now has completely finished. So we're going to do Pathfinder after we do the one I forgot last time, which was Game Deck. So
Right. Yeah.
I played Game Deck prior to what appears to be a pretty substantial patch, and I actually like Game Deck a lot. It's a RPG, no combat, cyberpunkish
RPG
kind of
detective cyberpunk game.
Yeah, and I had some issues with translation. Reg, though, has played it a lot and played it more than me now. Post a patch seems to be pretty high on it. So go ahead, Reg.
Yeah. So before the launch and right after launch, there have been a lot of complaints in the forums about missing translations, like outright missing, where the translated part and Polish were completely mixed, as well as bad translations in all kinds of languages. But by the time I've played it in English, I had no issues so far. Not only that, I spot anything that was still in the original language, but the language that was there was totally fine, even sometimes surprisingly like deep and complex. The game itself I find very enjoyable. So far I've played through 2 of those in-game worlds and I'm in the 3rd one. I don't know how many there are. I think it's around 12-ish hours or so in total for a usual playthrough. The game has you explore virtual game worlds. So you're basically a game detective in the game. Your job is to find cheaters and to find people that are breaking the game rules. So you log into a game getting hired by other people and try to find the culprit. So you talk to other people, talk to other players within that world, collect clues, and then from those clues draw your conclusions, similar like you would be in what's the other detective games we had of that kind? The Sherlock Holmes for example, where you're in your thought world.
Yeah,
and you're connecting the bubbles.
Yeah, Lacuna earlier this year too.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it works. So you have usually it's like 7 clues you can collect. And from those, you then can draw your conclusions. You could also draw the wrong conclusions, or the game doesn't really tell you if it's the right conclusion. Once you have a conclusion, that's pretty much what you're going with. Yeah, and from that conclusion, you sometimes have another path where you have to collect more clues. And by the time you're finished one of those worlds, which takes about 3-ish hours, you log out, you get your payments, and then there's a little bit happening outside the game world, and you're off to the next one.
Yeah, I don't know about you. I liked that it never tells you if you're right.
Yeah.
You have no clue.
It's like I was hovering over the options, but like I don't know which one is the correct one.
Yeah, and then what's great about this game, just so everybody knows, is you're doing these investigations for other people, and you're telling these other people like what you think, and no one comes back to be like pat you on the back and be all, hey, you were wrong. So I went through it twice, went through the starting twice, once a long time ago, like 6 months ago, and then recently, and just happened to choose different, outputs, and they were substantially different. Like there was some huge differences what I told the guy versus the other one, where you're just like, dude, seriously? I mean, that's like exactly the opposite. But the writing is, I just will warn people, it's not dark like Disco Elysium. It's there's some sexualization there, which I think anybody
right in the first world.
Right in the first world. The first world is perverted and twisted and perverted is the actual MMO you enter. And there's some, you hear like gunshots going off and people moaning, and you're like,
Yeah, and you have lots of NPCs who are like, oh, you want to have a good time?
Yeah. Ben Ketern with a UAU 400 units. I don't know what that is, but he says, thanks for what you do. We love you from UY. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Ben. You rock. Thanks for the super chat. Is that Ukraine?
Uruguay. How do you say that in English?
Uruguay? Oh,
Yeah.
Is that where it is? Okay, gotcha. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You rock. Hopefully I've saved you some cash, or these guys have made you laugh during the podcast. Got my Series X. Somebody else just got another Series X. We've got a lot of people lately who've been jumping in here. Yeah, with consoles, which has been nice because the PlayStation's been difficult. It's been hard for a lot of people to get consoles lately. At least with Game Pass, for the most part, you can.
I don't know how to pronounce.
With the Game Pass, you can now stream pretty much to everywhere. At least with that's sort of nice. In a weird way, you don't really need a console for a lot of games if you end up wanting to play them. Let's see. Sony sent me an email inviting me to buy a PS5, so keep an eye out on your emails, Brett says. Not sure how they pick or why. I don't even think Sony knows. Right? I got a PS5 recently. I still can't find a Series S for sale, but I was able to purchase a Series S. I can't find a Series S for sale, but I was able to purchase a Series
X.
S.
He corrected himself.
Oh, okay. I was like, James, how have you found the transition back to YouTube? It's been good. We don't, Amazon Prime is nice when you have, so that it doesn't harm anybody if they just have an Amazon Prime sitting around, which even I do. You get that free subscription, which always helps people. But I think YouTube just helps. It makes my brain, it's just easier on my brain. I don't have to worry about 10 different places and grabbing content everywhere. It's been really nice. My wife managed to get a PS5 from Walmart for me.
There you go.
Yeah, no shit, man. My cousins in Mexico use a Game Pass exclusively for streaming. Uptown says, you guys love Tales of Arise? Yes, I think whoever played that's liked it, right? Uh-oh. Johnny, did you stop? Did you stop?
I couldn't even get into it. I watched a friend play for a few hours, and I was dead in the water with the sounds in fights and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Damn. That's pretty harsh. Really?
Dude, okay, look, I think I'm getting old and cynical.
No, it's all right.
At one point, right? At one point,
finally,
the girl with the big hair,
yeah,
right? I think the one you hated. She picks up something from the ground, and it's some shitty bracelet, and she's like, "Wow, I found something incredible." It's like, bro, it's a shitty bracelet you picked from the dirt.
Picks up, it's like bracelet, and you're like,
at some point,
we know.
Even you can't be excited about that.
Ross says, I bought Tales of Arise after ACG's review. Sorry, guys. The reason why I'm doing this is because I put my camera in front of everything. I apologize for that. It's awesome. Good. I'm glad you're digging it. I think overall...
Bro, enjoy it. It's fine.
Yeah, it's not a bad game. That's one of the ones that you can tell is good, but you just didn't love it. And there's distinct issues with that game. That is an issue. It looked
great. Yeah, and the combat seemed fun, but there were lots of these things
I got Hitman
just
3 on sale. Epic Store, $20.
Nice. Silver approves. Silver is like
Me too, man.
Well, Silver
Yeah.
probably just partially approves because it's the Epic Store, but it's Hitman.
Oh. We had that
he'll let it
conversation.
fly this time.
We had that conversation. Every time somebody brings up like any of the stores, it's just like, oh, here. We all know how that's going to happen. It's Epic Store currently and Elon Musk. If you bring up Musk, Nor's going to come in and tell you how much of a shithead he is. Like I can tell. Like that's like a call. It's like a bugle elk call for Nor. Whenever anybody's like, hey, Elon's, he made a tunneling machine, blah blah blah. All of a sudden, you'll just see Nor, and it'll be like Norwegian imposter is typing. Let's see. Creative Monster. Just none of the exclusives really left an impression on me. For what's still waiting for Hitman 3 to come to Steam. Oh, Hitman 3 is not on Steam at all? Okay.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either. Once you get it, you just...
It's an Epic exclusive. I would assume it's coming to Steam January, February.
Gotcha. So, I mean, that's the thing. Like, Epic exclusives are going to become a big deal, peeps. I'm hearing... Yeah. There's definitely... I mean, this isn't really hiding anything. There's, like... I am hearing that there are a lot of exclusives coming for it. And be prepared to hear that even more. Andrew says, are you going to do a console review of Insurgency Sandstorm? ? I haven't even played it. So no, unfortunately, sir. I don't even know. I didn't even know that was on the consoles. I have played it on PC. I definitely enjoy it.
Sadly, I have to run.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Have a good one. Thanks for showing up.
Take care, Silver.
Go get your target.
Yeah, exact exclusive target just showed up in Silver's location. He's like, gotta go. All right, have a good one.
Bye.
Ciao, buonasera, e arrivederci.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Yeah, okay, bye. Keep your chows to yourself. Let me turn off his indicator. There we go. Boom. All right, look at that. See ya, Adam. Alan Wake Remastered is not coming to Steam at all, though, because Epic is the publisher. Yeah, a lot of these games, I think you're going to start to see that, especially, I don't know if you guys saw this, Microsoft popped up. What's his name? Sedelia? I think. Am I pronouncing that right? Sedia, the main guy from Microsoft. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. But he popped up and he stated that, like, people should just be prepared that COVID's hitting people worse and worse and worse. And especially when it comes to game development, sometimes companies need, people need to be there on some of the stuff, or they're so accustomed to it for 40 years of their lives. I think a lot of stuff's going to get Nadella. Is that what it is? Sage with $5 super chat, $4.49. Just want to get that clear. Says Silver looking fresh. The Boneless Darkest Dungeon 2 is coming October 26th. Will you be reviewing at ACG? Dude, I didn't even know Darkest Dungeon was coming out.
It is early access, though.
Early access.
Then no.
Yeah.
No. Dude, the early access stuff, you can prepare to see more coverage from me on a lot of things, including early access, but they will be, I'll say a preview or something like that. You will not...
A discussion. Yeah, not like
unless they say this is early access because some other reason, but overall, and I might say what it's worth, but I'm not going to say...
Well, and it's, I think, early access and Epic exclusive. So Epic exclusive early access.
Right.
Yeah, you're whittling down your audience to like 6 people. I'm just joking. Epic's obviously doing quite well, but yeah. I will not be doing those. I mean, there's a lot of people who I think could be fine when it comes to reviewing early stuff, but
for you, like, is it almost like a principle thing where you can't really say it's a review if the game is not fully done yet?
Yeah, because a lot of times they'll still charge a good amount of money, and there's this idea that like it's a little bit of a charity. They'll be like, this is, if you're not okay with games that are broken, blah blah blah, don't do it. So they warn you up front, which I get. But then at that point, it's like, how do you even substantially say my experience will be your experience? We already have that issue after certification on AAA games, right? So if after certification we already have issues where some people have more bugs than others, then I'm surely not going to feel I want to put my foot down and say that's why whenever anybody says, like, have you ever rethought a review? And I'm like, no. Dude, it takes 8 hours to play a game, let's say. It's going to take you many hours to do editing. If all that time I wasn't concrete in my fucking decision, what kind of jackass am I telling people that's my decision in the first place? Like, no. This is what I think, and you can't do that with early access. Really difficult. But like I said, I might do a thing where I'm impressions. Is it worth jumping into early? But I won't be wait for sale. None of that kind. Mostly get digital now, but I prefer physical. Oh, talking about. Why are we talking about physical versus digital? Oh, probably just Epic. Yeah, because everything Epic would be. You know what? I'm surprised the store hasn't done a physical, like the Epic physical edition. Sorry, what were you saying? Oh my god, I gave him an idea.
The release version, so as soon as it's out of early access, Darkest Dungeon 2, it will just release on all platforms. It's only Epic exclusive for the early access period.
Okay.
Let's see, what else have we had? So that's Game Deck. What about Pathfinder, Reg? After all your time,
both thumbs up and my toes. Like imagine everything. It's like
the toes too, huh? Damn.
If you're into foot fetish, now's your time, man.
Yeah, there you go. I'm tempted to say that so far I have to update my game of the year to Pathfinder. It is definitely one of the most enjoyable games I've played this year. Certainly not the most bug-free game,
right?
But still very much enjoyable, and a super long game as well. And I mean, I mainlined it pretty much along the way. Stuck to the game because I find it so enjoyable. Like the whole world, there's so many mechanics to it, even to the point of just being overloaded. I'm sure you could have cut a good part of them away and probably even make the game better that way. Like the whole conquest system with the town building and stuff. That's fluff that I don't think the game really required. But the NPCs you have, they're sympathetic. Most of them. Some of them are just straight out crazy, which is also cool in their own way. And the whole story I just enjoyed. Like it was nothing super special, unique. But for what it is, it was a great ride from start to finish.
Billy Mike says, do you need to play Pathfinder 1?
No.
I didn't feel there was any. There was just no. There was enough switches,
I think it's even a
rules-wise.
Completely different world and everything.
And the rules are, I mean, 2 has definitely improved some of the rules and improved some of the stuff. 1 is rough, guys. Like, the love for 2 is not the same as the love for 1, I don't think.
I mean, I installed 1 and started playing it, seeing, well, because I want more Pathfinder.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so far that first one seemed fine, but I know that the reviews are a lot more negative on that one. So
yeah,
2 seems to be an all-around improved version.
Mainly not mainly, but one of the main things I had an issue with, number 1, was the HUD was terrible. And they patched it and fixed things and adjust things. So now I don't know where it is, but I mean, it's still exciting to see that game do well.
Many of the menus in the first one, trying the first one after the second, felt very similar. So I don't know if it launched like that, but it seems that at least it patched it so that both games look very similar in their menus.
Yeah, the HUD was huge. And like it was cumbersome to play. It just really, and then buggy, man. Like we think 2 is buggy.
I mean, I said, the second one is still very much buggy.
1 was still worse. 1 was pretty bad. Which it's funny though. 2 launched and was bad, right? But I got through 2 with less bugs than I did even in my quarter playthrough of 1. So I was getting more of the bugs like what you were talking about with 2, where you got the occasional like save game corruption. I think you got
save game corruption, being unable to leave an area until I restarted the game. I think throughout my playthrough, 2 or 3 quests were just completely broken. They got stuck, like the NPCs were gone that I had to talk to. So yeah, there's definitely some issues.
Yeah. Thank you for the super chats, folks. I appreciate them, especially after the move here. What I would like to know from you guys, though, is what's your game of the year so far in chat? if you have a game of the year. Reg mentioned it, and I hadn't really thought of it so far.
And I have a question for you guys, very important. Did you have any romances with your followers in
Well,
Pathfinder 2?
Yes, of course.
Of course.
I mean, of course.
Excellent.
I'm not sure what triggered it, but the strange thing was that after a while, the NPCs, like your companions, come to you instead. It's not like the usual where you're like, hey.
Yeah.
But they come to you and it's like slipping your poem in your pocket or filling the room with roses or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, it's typical romance.
It is. It
You
is
know.
very one note, and there's like maybe 3-4 interactions throughout the whole game like that. So it's not like you go on a boat ride with them or whatever kind of romantic stuff you might think of.
One of these games we're gonna get
more like a black screen and
that's it. One of these times we're gonna get a good romance, and I just don't know. I don't know how I will take it. But there's been characters that have good romances that are post-failure. Disco Elysium, there's a little bit of a post-failure romance there, as well as Longest Journey, Dreamfall. But it should tell you something that I'm going back 2 gens, just to talk about one that stuck with me. It's just
because you didn't like even, for example, Geralt and Yen, which a lot of people did like.
No.
No.
Fuck no.
No, I don't like most of the time. So yeah, most of the time in games, the time is truncated to tell a story that's epic and tense. And so when you have these love affairs, luckily they had a pre-love affair, which works. It worked better. I will say that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Because but anytime when it's forced in, like let's say Mass Effect, man, they're just terrible. Like, I don't know how why waste your resources? I mean, it's obvious because there are people that's their entire measure of success is playing Mass Effect and being able to screw
their
an
entire
alien
reason to replay the game.
Yeah.
I know several people.
I know.
Was to.
I know.
Yeah.
And I like, man, But one of these days, I think we'll get one where they do it right, and it's the length of time that makes that like holds true. That I'm waiting for. Romances in Cyberpunk 2077 are well done.
I will say it for me was one of the saving graces. Judy and what's her face?
There
you go.
Panam.
That worked well.
Panam. I promise I liked you, Panam, but listen.
Wow. I'll call you.
Yeah, exactly.
I played the game 2 times to actually go through, each of those, like fully committing to one of them. And it was good. I actually like those.
Well, so there's one. There's one that works. I would say that it was I would say it was okay, but I have a
not like mind blowing.
I have a thing for curly haired brunettes, like long haired, like that's sort of my. And so like in Outer Worlds as well, I liked what's her name in that Pavardi.
Even though she didn't want anything to do with your character.
Right. So both of those characters just really look the same to me.
Yeah.
There's something about them that look the same, and I liked them overall, but I wasn't a huge fan of Cyberpunk's. I mean, I didn't hate them. It was better. It was better than normal, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where
you
just never quite know, right? You never quite know how a romance is going to go in a game. And then once you get it, you have to sort of decide, like, do I just go for it or do I skip it? Because a lot of times I'll skip it. Like they'll be like, oh, hey, do you want to go back to my,
no,
space, whatever, and pump? And I'll just be like, nope, I'm going.
Check out my CDs.
Commander Shepard's going to bed alone. Best romance, Lance said, is Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic Online, Imperial Agent. Admittedly, I would actually agree with you that Knights of the Old Republic has insanely good romances. Did you guys ever do those?
Okay. No.
Really? Oh man. Yeah, I think you'd dig it. They were very, very well done. Not romance. Is romancing in a game cheating? Oh, I see.
Oh,
I was like,
yes, you're cheating on another game.
Yeah, exactly. Most recent romances I played was in Detroit Become Human. you have a romance in that?
That's what I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe I played it wrong.
Maine says, I'm Commander Shepard and I don't have time for this. Exactly. That right there is like, get away. Psh, I'm going to do battle. Space battle. Let's see. What other games have I played and not done or did a prelim on? So Game Deck we covered. We covered Pathfinder, Kena. I think everybody saw my Kena review who's interested in that game. The game's well worth checking out if you guys get a chance.
Yeah.
The game. Did you beat Kena?
I beat Kena. Yeah. Or Kena, I never know. Yeah. It's excellent,
yeah,
man.
Solid game.
And some of those bosses are no joke. Like a couple I had to retry, I think 13 times was one of them. And I mean, I wasn't even I was just playing medium difficulty as well. So, it was a good challenge, some of them. And it wasn't even like there's some kind of silly gimmick that once you figure out, it becomes trivial. For the most part, you just really had to learn the fight and, do well. And
yeah. I enjoyed that game a lot. What was the other one? Lost Judgment came out, and man, it's been crazy to see how many people have liked that. It's been really cool to just notice how people are sort of embracing some of these games in completely different sections. Like, because I review them all, and sometimes I don't get a chance to go back and look. And lately, I've been getting a chance because I'm going back on older stuff, fixing the walking the walks or whatever. And somebody just mentioned The Ascent. That's another one. Or like when you get to see The Ascent, it's so cool to like see people after I'm done with it and then go back and look, and now people are just jumping in. And that's sort of what happened with Lost Judgment. That was the reviews on that were pretty early, I think. Dude, did one of you guys just drop a poop? Oh, just a Great Dane fart. Let's see. I want to hear your thoughts on the new Back 4 Blood game. Yeah, it'll be fun to give them when I can. We got Far Cry 6 next week or week after.
yeah.
Next week. Yeah.
What's your level of like
I can't say. I'm
excitement
playing it.
going? Okay. Oh, because you can't.
Go ahead,
comment,
Reg. What's your level of excitement for a Far Cry game, Reg? I want to hear this.
Okay. 1.5.
Out of what,
10.
bro? But you liked 5, didn't you? You had fun with. Oh,
That was already at the point where I was like, I'm super sick of the Far Cry formula.
You know
Oh,
how we had fun. We played at the same time. It was better with friends.
right.
Yeah. There we
Or
go.
it was
Exactly.
only good because of the.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because we got we had stupid stuff happen. We're driving around. Like co-op is, we just had fun doing stupid stuff that we could have probably done in another
Yeah.
game that had 4-wheelers in it, but we were on a 4-wheeler in that, so it was fun to just run around and jump into cars and see stupid stuff. Yeah, that game was sort of wanting. Far Cry is definitely. I can see.
So not very
people have issues
excited.
with
I'll definitely not get it day one, no matter the
Oh,
reviews.
okay.
But I might get it if it's on a Black Friday sale, like next month.
Smart move. What about you? Are you getting it day one, Johnny?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm quite excited because for me, what made a good Far Cry game was a good villain and a sort of interesting setting. I think, what was his name? Van, that
Voss?
bad guy.
In 2
Voss,
or 3?
thank you. For me, that was my favorite of the series. And I think that dynamic with him was kind of what made it interesting. And now, Giancarlo, who has the chops to make a really good villain as well, it had excited. So, yeah.
So I was just thinking about Far Cry. You have Far Cry. Forza is this month or is it next month? I think Forza might be November. No, or is Forza end of October?
End of this month.
I thought I would have put
think?
it in my top 10. It didn't come up on my list if it is. But regardless, you got these big games, right? And then you got Alan Wake Remastered. You have all of these titles. And it's hard to sell.
No.
So Far Cry, I get why people like it. But I think with Far Cry, it's going to be very hard to sell it to people. There's just a lot of stuff going on. And I could see this one having difficulties, except the actor is one reason why people are checking into it. However, I don't know how much that'll sell it. You know, because we've seen Breakpoint had an amazing actor, had the guy who played Punisher, and that game was just average, not trash, but it was pretty bad. And he's an amazing actor. I like that guy. So an actor doesn't mean anything if the game just isn't
That's true.
fun.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what's going to be the deciding factor for that. I mean, the thing is, we also talk about games and how they sell versus, you know, you'll get a game that gets a review of like 3.2 and it sells 8 million, like a FIFA or whatever, you know, NBA or whatever, where it's like, you know, tons of microtransactions, blah, 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 and everybody's still buying it and playing it. So Lim says, what about subbing do you play? Oh, does Uplay give those free day one?
Yes, they are free. Well, free.
And how much?
It's $15 a month. There is no yearly or something tier. It's 15 a month, and that's it.
Okay, so that's and I got to remember that because usually what I do is I play the game, then I decide on the score. Like once and look at the prices and go, what did I feel? That's a pretty hard to defeat price point.
True.
You know,
and in 1 month you can certainly play through that game.
Well, yeah, and if sorry, but I was even just saying 15 to just have your 8 hours of fun and not even continue. You know, that's a good return on your investment. Now that's PC only though, so you would have to have a PC that runs it. Which this one's fucking requirements are high. This one's requirements are not low, so that's another thing. As somebody with a 2080, you know, I'll talk about it during the review. But yeah, man, it's gonna be awesome. Then you got Alan Wake Remastered, baby.
Yeah, I saw some gameplay of it. You know, it has me a little bit excited. The gameplay still looks a bit crusty.
Yeah.
Because it is an older game, right?
It's a remaster, not a remake.
Was always, yeah. Could warrant a replay, man.
Dude, review comes out next week. I just
excellent.
When you look at like these remasters and you look at remakes, they all hit differently. And remasters, sometimes we want a little more than a remaster. Yes. You want the reimagining we talk about, which is like in between. Ezio trilogy was and Batman, you know, De-Evolution. Those were two that the remasters you were like, what the like these aren't great. Even though I actually thought the Ezio one was worth it for the price. They didn't really do anything. And in fact, like Ezio removed some graphical effects. So did Batman. I don't know if you guys remember that. I know Reg does because we've joked about it before. But the Batman demaster.
The demaster.
Yeah, so but it's like Remedy, Control, Quantum Break, Max Payne, Alan Wake, all sharing the same world. Quantum Break is not their IP anymore, which will be interesting to see if Microsoft ever does anything with that anymore. And that one's cheap, by the way. Alan Wake Remaster is like $29. And I say cheap, but I mean I'm just saying it's not the full price. It is not a remaster that's Sony remaster where it's still the same price, or another $10, and you're like, what the fuck? So
Nintendo, that will be $70, please.
Yes, that would be another $10 for that.
Yeah.
Chat, what games are you guys getting in October? Because October's stacked. I put some Metroid is on there. What do you guys think of that?
Okay. It is.
Metroid Dread.
The cheerful title. Right.
What a terrible title. What do you guys think?
I'm not a huge Metroid fan, so not super high on the list.
Okay.
My highlight of the month would probably be more like Age of Empires 4.
That too.
That's the one.
Even though that one looks pretty cartoony. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I I had hands-on, but I can't say more than that.
With the final?
No, not the final.
Oh, but yeah, because the NDA. Special says, Karak's joke about the industry blank with each other, debating about how political the game is. Most won't talk about gameplay. That's... Oh! I was like, what's this dude talking about? He's talking about the top... I was wondering if people were going to get mad about the top 10 list, because, yeah, I did make a joke about Far Cry and how people are going to be masturbating into their own think jars. They're going to be too busy doing that. They're going to be too busy doing that to talk about the game. And that Far Cry, that bothers me, because it's like, the politics aside, It's the function of the title to do particular things, and
it's all gonna be meta reviews, like
oh my
reviewing
God.
how people are reviewing.
Dude,
or should
Diablo
be reviewed.
was terrible. It took me so long to find data about Diablo. I was like, Diablo reviews, and every one of them was like, here, oh my God, PC Gamer, but I think it was PC Gamer, is one of the worst offenders I've ever seen of this. Every 5 words was hyperlinked to another article, and they'd be like, Bob, and there'd be an article, and it wouldn't even, like, you're like, what's this we really even have to do with what we're talking about? They were just hyperlinking everything, and it was just bouncing around. I was like, let's talk about the issues at Activision, blah, 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 and we finally got to the ending, where they were finally talking about Diablo. And then they had the gall to say, we aren't done with our Diablo review, so here's our fucking Diablo 2 original review from 1997.
Wow.
Or whatever it was. And I'm not lying, by the way. If you guys don't believe me, go. It was right there. It was like, we don't have this done fully, so here's our old review. And I'm just like,
so good.
Fucking hell.
the World Critic and Gamer says playing Guardians of the Galaxy, Age of Empires 4, and B4B with friends.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, too. I mean, dude, man, Age of Empires, Guardians of the Galaxy.
I started here, and I'm now here, where, like, in excitement for that one.
On which one?
Guardians.
I can't.
For Guardians.
You're lower, even though the previews came in?
Yeah. I started excited when we saw it for the first time, and I'm now here, where something extraordinary has to happen for me to consider buying it.
I'm opposite, man. So would you say that, would you say you're that way because of what you've seen? Because
yeah, the more I see of the characters, the least I think they can be fun and enjoyable.
Yeah, guy looks like a douche stapled legs generic to itself. Yeah, that's the worst design for Star-Lord. Yeah. It's so funny because everybody I talk to who's played it, and there's a couple people that haven't even done videos on it, they've just played it. So and they've been really, really like, dude, the combat is a blast. So we're just gonna, we're gonna have to see. We're just gonna have to see it, because I mean that's so that Star-Lord, like, you know how sometimes there's like somebody's face and you just want to punch it. Maybe it's mine.
Strikes you the wrong way.
It strikes you the wrong way, and you're like, dude, I don't like your face. And that guy showed up, and I was just like, oh man, I don't like him. I don't like his design. You know, he just, and it has nothing to do with Chris Pratt, by the way. He just doesn't.
Yeah, but there's something about the type of Chris Pratt, even though he's now jacked and, you know, he looks great. He's more relatable than what this guy seems to be. I don't know.
This guy looks so much like a ripoff of Dead Rising 2's motorbike protagonist. I even made a joke about it in the review. It's like, that's what he looks like. So we'll have to see. But it is very cool to hear a bunch of people that I actually, you know, haven't, like I said, haven't done videos for this and have been like, yeah, the combat's good. So
okay. And maybe it'll surprise us. It'll be like actually fun.
Yeah. Nuggets 1 says Alan Wake, Far Cry 6, Metroid Dread, Back 4 Blood, Guardians of the Galaxy, Riders Republic. Yeah, those are the ones I put on the cover. Riders Republic, people seem to like that too. Talked to multiple people who, again, haven't done videos. They've just done like preview events, and they're very, very happy with Riders Republic. It's going to be a little... That one's a hard sell because they've even stated it's just a social game. It is a social game. It is a front-end game. So you're like, I'm not 100% sure that might be something worth getting for me, personally. Just for me. We'll have to see. You guys are probably not going to do public, right?
No, I didn't even play the beta.
Don't think so.
No.
Yeah, when you don't do the beta that's free.
Yeah. Right.
Speaking of beta that's free, let's talk a little bit about Back 4 Blood. So, Back 4 Blood had a beta. You guys were not horribly impressed. This was about 6 months ago when you guys played it.
We did one of the earlier ones.
Yeah, and then I played it. I don't know what people in the chat think of Back 4 Blood. We'll have to see, man. There's a little bit of an it factor that game doesn't have that I don't necessarily think their older games have had. Maybe they didn't need them at the time, but I think now maybe it does need it. Like there's almost too much competition in there. And so you see a Back 4 Blood and you're like, what are we getting? A card system? That's not going to hold me forever. You know, it'll hold me for a bit, but it really needs to
It doesn't
pay
seem
off.
that interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and especially like I was playing World War Z, and you know I like its overall combat. It's got the issues I talked about, but you've got that. You've got a bunch of other. You've even got Team Fortress. You've got their original game, or not their original game. Yeah, it is them, right? What's the one that Sonar says is the best game ever?
Left 4 Dead.
Left
Left
4
4
Dead
Dead.
2.
Yeah, so you've got all these games, and they come out about once every couple months where you get a shooter, and most of them come and go, right? I mean, they do. They come and go. And this one, Back 4 Blood, is even sort of generic. Even the name, it's just like, we're going to put a 4 in the title, man. Back 4 Blood.
True.
Andrew says, the movement is so slow for me on Back 4 Blood. I don't remember that. Oh, no, I do remember that being slow. Shit. That is true. I had forgotten. That is true. That's a good point. And then Abdi says, Game Pass is the only positive thing about Back 4 Blood. Admittedly, I was completely, thank you for bringing that up. I was not aware Back 4 Blood was on Game Pass. And I'm telling you right now, at some point you're going to save money just getting a Game Pass, even if you don't like all their Xbox games, because the third-party ones are coming out for it. Like, it's starting to get ridiculous that Back 4 Blood's there day one. So, yeah, you'll be able to jump in there and play it. Abbreviated Reviews says, Back 4 Blood's beta didn't do anything for me. I think that's what these guys said, right?
Yeah.
I think, Reg, you said you just stopped playing it, right?
Yes.
You guys, because you guys played at the same time.
So I'm thankful for the beta and for trying it, because after trying it, I knew that I'm not interested in the game.
What would have made you interested, other than being better? I know the joke, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Because
I didn't feel like the difficulty curve was a curve. It was more like there's masses of enemies that aren't really challenging, and there's suddenly a huge monster that is like a cliff.
Gotcha. That's fair. What about you, Johnny?
Yeah. The disappointment was, one, the card system was anything, which was for me the biggest thing. Could have turned it into some kind of roguelite experience where you make builds and archetypes for different runs and things. So it wasn't deep enough, and everything about it was pretty rough around the edges as well. The shooting felt very rough. The way you got ammo back or bought weapons, it was all like really scuffed. So those are some things they could have polished up by now. So I can speak to that. That was pretty early.
All right. I think I will stick with World War Z Aftermath. Yeah, I got to say, World War Z, hey, man, like, Cadiz finally got his running and connected, which is nice. But that game, 1.5 first and a third person, whatever the fuck that view is, it doesn't matter. That game still it's fun. And fun is, I get that people are like, oh, there's this card system, there's this, there's that. But if it's not fun to run around, then it's not going to be fun for this. It's not, you know what I mean? And it adds up, man. And I'm sorry. And if anybody in chat wants to debate this, we can debate it. But this is one of the reasons I had with Alien, is because there's this love-struck moment where people get an Alien game or get a game with an IP they like, right? And they're like, oh, wow, it's amazing because of the IP. And Alien, dude, everybody I talk to, nobody even fucking has it installed anymore. And it was like, people were like, oh, this is a fucking great game, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, it's not. It's not great at all. And Back 4 Blood doesn't even have an IP. So World War Z had the zombies in a rush, right? It had something to sell it. Vermintide, D&D, you could say, Warhammer.
Yeah, the setting.
But Back 4 Blood is trying to tell you our card system is going to elevate us past zombies. And right? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it once it hits so many different types or so many different times where you're just like, I need something, just help me and I'll help you. And I truly do believe that. If you help a gamer and give them a hook, they'll help you, but it has to be a gameplay hook, not an IP hook. I really do believe IP hooks just don't stick. They only stick for the
like a passing trend or
Let's see. Fireteam Elite, very mediocre. Why Vanguard looks AAA and Halo looks like Halo? Vanguard. Why Vanguard looks Vanguard? What's... Oh, jeez.
Ooh.
Wow. Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Oh, is that
Call of
even...
Duty.
When's that out?
Soonish.
I don't think it was this month.
I hope not. Because I'm going to have to do
no
another
idea.
video. Hey, by the way, while Reg is looking this up, or somebody look this up.
November 5th, it looks like.
November 5th. I do want to say thank you to everybody who showed up and, you know, watches those other videos, the top list videos and like stuff like that. I absolutely appreciate it. I saw some people spreading them on Reddit. That helps. You guys don't know how much that helps if you have a Reddit account. If it's like a PS4 game to post on PS4 and stuff. It's a big thank you. Creative Monster says, I liked Aliens Fireteam, but yes, I'm a huge Alien fan, so there you go. Yeah, I mean, there you go.
I think it's like you can come for the aliens, but at the end of the day, you stick around for the gameplay if it's good.
Yeah.
And if it's not, it just holds
Well,
you
you
for
just
that long,
described
right?
every one of the new Star Wars trilogy movies. People went because it was Star Wars. They didn't
Yes.
like
Yeah.
it because it was bad. Like that's
Yeah.
right.
Sorry, JJ.
Yeah. Oh, dude, JJ. I don't know. Yeah, that guy just is in a room smelling his own farts. Like I don't have any clue what that guy is doing anymore, and it like just made shit movies. The World Critic says Mario Party Superstars this month.
Yep, it is. End of the month.
That is that one of the party ones where you all run around and do like different mini games?
Yes, that's the party game where you like on the virtual game map and you run around.
That's
and do
cool.
mini games.
Hey guys,
And
I
think
like
this
those
one's,
games.
one of the bigger ones because it brings back a lot of the mini games from previous titles.
Very cool. Very cool.
And I think unlike the previous one, it has full online multiplayer ?
Nintendo's making steps. They're making headway. They're like, whoa, there's an entire continent over there. IP sticks are just cash grabs at this point. I think we've established some don't work after the abysmal movie tie-ins in the early 2000s. Well, yeah, true, but a lot of those people are making games right now. Probably, I mean, they might not even been playing games in the early 2000s. Guys, it's 21. We're 2021 right now. Come on.
Yeah.
I got, no lie, I had somebody telling me that, like, I should have compared a game to a game that came out in 2003. I'm like,
Nice.
dude, yeah, exactly. Nice. Good opinion.
Nice.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's like what game? I forgot what game it was, but it's a direct sequel of the first game that released 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah, that
Yeah.
just happened. What I was oh fuck. Oh, I can't remember the game, but I was reviewing one where it was like that. It was like it's so hard to
Like,
sell
dude,
that to
how
somebody.
many people have played that game? And of those that played it, how many remember that game?
Or remain in gaming. Everybody I
Yeah.
know but me and Cadiz and one other person are still in gaming. Every single other person that was in our friend group does not game at all. And they were heavy gamers, heavier than me. It's almost like they burned out, you know. So, Outcast 2, so Outcast 2, guys, I so can't wait for that. Outcast is tremendous, but when I review that, I will be reviewing that for Outcast 2. You know,
Oh,
and how that, but
Psychonauts
I'm
was a long
super
pause.
excited.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
Psychonauts, there we go. Yeah. Halo Beta is live, and Far Cry 6 will be hype. Halo Beta, I've only spent a very small amount of time on.
Yeah, I've seen that someone apparently managed to get split screen working on the beta. Like
I'm sorry, what?
they patched in split screen or found an exploit to activate it.
No shit? Oh,
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Data miners hacking into your shit, right? Max Sterling, what's up, Max? It's been forever. Any guesses on what you think Bluepoint's original game will be? You know, so this is interesting, man. Bluepoint has nailed the PlayStation like Insomniac, right? I think Bluepoint's worked with Sony for years, but Demon's Souls,
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
graphically, that game's pretty fucking impressive.
Oh yeah.
What? It's an original IP, so it's like when somebody asks me that, I can't answer, but I would assume they've done. They did the big Colossus. They did Colossus. They did
Shadow. Yeah.
Nathan Drake remaster, which was phenomenal. They did Demon's Souls, and then I think they've helped others do some other things. So I don't really know, Max, and thank you for the super chat, Max. I absolutely appreciate it. It really does help. I don't know, just because they've done a bunch. That's 3 technically fairly different games, right?
Yeah, I guess you could group it into like third-person action adventure games, but that's very broad.
Yeah.
Those are quite distinct.
I hope Bluepoint does whatever makes Bluepoint happy.
Yeah, whatever makes them excited. Because I listened to kind of a long video interview they did for the Demon Souls game where they talk about their process. And one of the things they mentioned was that each game they did was all about upping the ante with their work and the scope of their work. So, going from Uncharted to Shadow of the Colossus, they did a ton more stuff comparatively, they said. And then from there to Demons, full on like another scale, another level. So I'm thinking that will be the trajectory they want to go, where they want to blow it out even more in some specific way.
I saw the same thing, by the way, with Uncharted. I was doing the walking the walk, and I wanted to get some more data on Uncharted 4, and to see everybody like at that company be like, we push it, and then we like push it a little bit more, and then somebody else pushes something, and they're not perfect. Uncharted had issues. It wasn't perfect, but some of their stuff in Uncharted 4 is pretty phenomenal, and you see it and you're like,
they squeeze every bit of
and
performance from
you do see a little safety on the others, including Nintendo, where they're a little bit more safer. That they have beloved stuff, but it's just, you can tell that it's not being pushed. I don't know any other way to describe it. You can just, sometimes it's almost like we want compatibility versus performance mode. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like, it's almost like the different consoles are like choosing compatibility versus
conformity versus like.
Yeah. Let's see. Rabbids 2 cannot wait. Somebody asked if Eternal, or if Outcast 2 is, or if Outcast 1 was a classic, and I would say I think so. I think so.
It was at least a standout title.
Yeah.
Also from the technology it used.
Not NURBS. I say that every time. Voxels.
Voxels, yeah.
Dude. Yeah. And the music, I still have this.
I remember I had the special edition of that game that came with a freeze-dried T-shirt, like in a little disc that you had to throw in the water, so it became a regular size.
So it became a regular size disc. Yeah. And remember, they were the first one to game saves were Gomsov. It was a language, so everything that they said that involved like the real world would be a word in there. And I remember when they're like, you can go to the Gomsov and save your spirit. And you were like, what? And then you save your, and it was just, and Urukai, right? Isn't that what they call you? Urukai, I think was,
Urukai.
Yeah. Oh, their voices, Shanaka. And they would call it you as you were running to, see, Outcast and Elix 2 are 2 games I'm going to have to not look at for like a while prior to reviewing, because you don't want that getting, because dude, Elix 2, like Elix, I'm such a fan of, even though it's just a mess. It's like, it's still fun. Elix 2 is that way, and Outcast, where they're hard to go into, and not feel some desire to give them a buy regardless. Game Over Man says, I played Outcast Second Contact for the first time, and I loved it. Jack Slade, I think his name's Slade, right? Yeah, can't wait, man. Can't wait. Oh, it's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. That's when you can tell my excitement is like raised, when I just keep saying that's good and that's it. I sound like Silver when he's explaining an indie game. It's very, very fun, and it's very, very good. Combat is outdated, but the rest isn't. Let's see. Elvin says jetpack power. Any game's got a jetpack instant buy. What else do we got? Reg put some news in here. Let's look at Reg's news. Oh, nope. He's hit his. Johnny's got Chris Judge talking about God of War being delayed due to his health issues.
Yeah. So did you guys see this on Twitter? Yeah, so he, I guess, disclosed for the first time that it was at least mainly due to him, the big delays on God of War, because he had massive health problems and surgery and stuff like that. Like he couldn't walk for for quite some time, and apparently the people there at Santa Monica, they just told him to take his time with recovering and delay the project, instead of, I guess, trying to push or get someone else or something like that, which presumably is commonplace, judging by his surprise. I'm not aware of, but
Sam Fisher.
I thought it was
Sam Fisher
right.
was replaced in the latest of the Splinter Cell games because they didn't believe that what's his name could do the physical stuff.
And I thought in a time of like everybody's is cynical about stuff, it was something wholesome and nice to bring forward, as they want to make the game with him, right? And they believe he's like a big part of the project. And
bro, that's why I joked on Twitter and said that's a true God of War. He has his knee replaced, both hips replaced, major surgeries, and he's more worried about us making sure that he apologizes.
Yeah,
admittedly,
he actually cared a lot about that.
Making sure that people understand you can move development around. So there is the possibility that they just were like, okay, we'll move development around and we'll do this over here while he's healing up, and then we'll do the mocap later. There are other things that can happen. So we don't know, and they've never said how long is it delayed, or was it delayed, which one of the delays, or was the delay just added on to their own internal issues? We don't know. But it was nice of him to say it. He didn't have to. And he even stated he was just in his feels. It wasn't like he felt that he needed to. He was just like, hey, there's some data here. And he was happy. He was happy because a company looked at him and was like, you are the star. Technically, he is Kratos now. And I do believe that,
Kratos.
right, and I do believe that he looks like Kratos. He's huge, he's muscular, he's got the voice, and I do believe that at some point when you do look at that and you say, dude, this guy is sort of our dude, it's sort of the way Splinter Cell, it didn't hit. And Michael Ironside's voice is 80% of the reason why. Like, yes. You do want that, and with him being physical, with Judge being physical, I think it makes sense. Name band again says, Silver leaving early, tisk tisk. I hope he's tunneling a 10. It took me a second to realize what he was saying. I was like, thanks for the super chat.
Wow.
Hopefully Silver is tunneling a 10, and no translation needed on that.
Very classy. I mean,
dude, we're the classiest podcast.
You're right.
Right? Like,
yeah.
Very much so. There's a couple. I like that. I like your honest.
Who's above it?
Right? Exactly. But I like your belief. You're like, very much so. Sure.
Just truly.
Let's see. Last one that we have on this list is Netflix. Yeah, so Netflix bought Oxenfree devs. Then they took, not then, they had already taken Stranger Things off the market, off the other stores. So a lot of people were thinking that something was going to go on anyway, but I don't know if they thought of all the companies and games. Oxenfree's devs. Night Dive Studios? Or is it, no, Nighttime Studio? It's Night something Studios. I just know the game.
Night is in it.
Which is Oxenfree.
Yeah.
Very happy, man. Very happy for them to.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I personally wouldn't do it.
Night School Studio.
Night School. I personally wouldn't do it because, let's be honest, guys, we saw how Stadia worked out for a couple companies, and I don't know if people will use Netflix for games in the way that they're hoping. But
is this the beginning of yet another launcher? Netflix games launcher?
Probably,
I guess.
So let's say you and I were sitting, we had this big thing that was offering the same tech already, and you find out that, streaming codecs are better than they've ever been, internet's better, and it's really hard for you to say, let's let these possible billions go versus let's shoot our shot. Now, I will admit, Oxenfree devs aren't the ones I would go, oh man, we're going to shoot our shot with those guys. Even though I love Oxenfree, that's a weird get, That's sort of like being really celebratory of like getting a, I don't know, left guard on your NFL football team and not caring about anybody else, or a kicker. So admittedly, that would be pretty cool. But yeah, Netflix is doing something different. I'm not happy about it because I don't want another one. And
I mean, the test run that Netflix did half a year ago or something Basically, it was that you had a link from the Netflix app on Android that gave you a free download in the Play Store.
Oh,
So if it maybe did do something like that.
So it wasn't remote?
No, was a download.
Oh,
Okay.
Like their first test run with their games was regular download.
really? Okay. That changes it, because then it's less useful to me, because then it skips you out of the hardware part. Okay. Well, we'll have to see what they do.
Yeah.
And Netflix is huge. They're completely bankrupt. I mean, I don't mean that they're bankrupt, but they are. They need to start making money at some point.
It's such a huge bubble.
It's a bubble like the Chinese homing.
It's
home
being
stuff.
held by the hopes and dreams of everybody watching.
Dude,
Do you
I've
remember
pulled
the
my money out
.com
of
bubble?
Netflix.
That's
Yeah.
Netflix.
Once I started looking at where Netflix was versus what they needed to do, and it was ridiculous. It was the amount that they were needing to do to be was like, it was. I remember looking at it, and I didn't have a ton in Netflix, but I was like, it's gone. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm okay. If somebody else makes millions on it, that's fine, but there's no fucking way.
That thing is just a disaster waiting to happen.
It is. It's like, and if people don't know what we're talking about, go and like start looking into Netflix, not only what they're paying for stuff, but like even their own investors and their own like investment groups are like, dude, they have to like make billions of dollars for years.
Versus income, and then look at how that plays out.
I mean, but you can also get like finger to the wind when they say we're releasing 10 big budget movies, like one per week. I mean, that is, the amount of capital, right? That's being.
Well, I think it's because they do great stuff, dude. I've liked a lot of Netflix stuff and their comedy specials. They do great stuff and still don't make money, Johnny. That's what I'm saying. How do you make good upon good upon good to finally do at some point? You're like, this ain't working, man. Yeah. It's not working. It's almost like Xbox trying to do well in Japan. Guys, it's doing better now, but it's taken them 3 gens, right?
Damn.
So,
but it's almost like they gotta keep going, right? The only way is they gotta keep pushing.
Netflix will drive itself into absolute oblivion before it can stop, because there is no stopping for Netflix. At least from what I understand, there's no way to stop. You either jettison money, and that's how you stop, or you jettison money on top of money to do well and hope that you're going to magically games. By the way, and Netflix is smart because games is the biggest entertainment. So move to games. And hope that your hardware that you have prior, which is your streaming stuff, allows for you to make that jump. We'll have to see.
Crazy.
I got a super chat here. Code named Frost says, do you guys think we'll ever get Splinter Cell remastered? Love you guys. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much for the super chat. They really do help. And I would love to see a remaster.
I would love, dude. I still fucking remember Splinter Cell, Pandora Tomorrow, Chaos Theory. Some of those were great games.
Oh, dude. Splinter Cells are good games. They're like back when stealth mattered, when stealth wasn't the bullshit. You get near a bush so your guy auto ducks. By the way,
apart from the shining thing on his back all the time.
Yeah. The flare on his head.
Yeah.
But nobody sees me.
But dude, like, even auto stealth bothers me now. That when you get into, like, when you walk by a bush and you
glue yourself to the walls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They weren't perfect.
I'm so done with the bushes,
but
dude.
The bushes. Like, God, dude, every time.
Come on, man.
And the first thing I check in almost any game is now if it's got auto stealth. Like, I duck. Almost the first thing I do in a game is go, can I duck? Because that'll change the entire way I encounter everything. Speaking of changing the entire way you encounter things, I had somebody DM me, and I got a couple questions. They wanted me to ask a couple of these. After I'm done with these questions, I do want to discuss Deathloop for a second. But the first one is going to be Apperdocs. Now, his recording is a little hard to understand, so I'm gonna play it, but I'm also going to explain what his question was. This is somebody who called in.
Hello, buddy. I hope you will be good. This is my question, and it has a 3 section. Number 1, do you think a purchase will be made by Microsoft by the end of this year? Number 2, is it a big purchase? And the last one, is there a bigger answer to Sony's new accusation? Justice, thank you.
All right. So the question was in two parts, and I apologize. It was a little hard to understand. Got a very bassy voice. It reminds me of talking to Big Mac in our chat. When Big Mac, and it's just like talking to nothing but a bass speaker. But he was asking, is there any big Xbox purchases coming up? And then is there going to be like some kind of Xbox counterpunch to Sony? The first one, yeah. He was also asking if we're going to hear an announcement prior to December. We talked about this last week.
Yeah. We had some inkling.
Yeah, and then
yes, but
yeah, and then Silver said he did bring up that, stocks and, announcements might occur on stock dates, within quarters, whatever. But I mean, I think so. But we'll just have to see. Addy Naruto says, loved your Uncharted Walking the Walk. Thank you very much. Yeah, has base. Exactly. I mean, that dude was hard to understand. And then do we think Sony, or is there going to be other purchases from Sony? Because that is a remake. They've done Nixies, which was the PC port company. Right? So, and now they've done the major remaster company. My opinion is the reason why you're seeing these is because they were surprised by COVID, as well as backwards compatibility and PC being important. That's my personal opinion. And that's why those two companies...
Especially the last one, I could definitely see for a Japanese company. Like, they always seem to be surprised that PC is actually a thing outside their own country.
Yep. I mean, look at Lost Judgment. We may not get Lost Judgment 3 because the entire... company that deals with the main guy who is the main actor doesn't believe in PC games.
Yeah, PC gaming is just not a thing in Japan.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is what it is. I don't know if Sony... I think Sony's pretty intelligent. They should have done this earlier, but I think those two purchases were very, very smart.
Yeah.
I think very, very intelligent purchase. And then this is going to be Scaps. Scaps is the next one, and then we'll jump on to questions in... hang on. Play Scaps.
Hi, this is Scaps, longtime listener and really enjoyed the podcast. Quick question for Johnny, Silver, Reg, and of course, Karak. With a lot of the video games currently getting delayed, I find myself reading books more and watching movies or TV shows. Is there a specific book or TV show, or movie for that matter, that you currently are watching more than, say, playing video games? Just a quick question. Hope all is well. Have a great one. Bye.
And that's a timely as hell question, because Reg just stated... Oh, by the way, sorry, to recap his question if you guys didn't hear it or there was any issues. He was asking if there's any TV shows, movies, comics, all that kind of stuff that has intrigued us, maybe pulled us a little bit away from games. Reg was saying something about anime. You said, what? So what's this one you're watching now?
So it happens usually after I finished like a big game, like a very long game where I was invested, like Pathfinder now, or the whole Trails series earlier this year. Then I'm kind of not in the mood for other games all that much. So I need kind of a little buffer. And that's usually where anime is coming in. I was watching like a whole season of one I liked, I enjoyed, and started another one. That concrete one I was watching was called Welcome to Demon School, Iruma-kun, which is about a human boy who is being sold by his parents to a demon lord. And the demon lord only wants a grandson. So he has him as his grandson, sends him to school, like buys him basically anything he wants. But he's the only human there. And the school he thinks he goes to, every time in the morning, their school song is about how tasty humans are and that they're only their sustenance.
That's awesome. And is it a just one season, or is this?
No, it's 2 seasons right now.
2 seasons still going. Like, is it third season coming?
I think there will be a 3rd season coming. I haven't seen that it's been canceled.
Gotcha.
But very enjoyable. It's despite, I mean, many animes have a kind of dark start, like I said, with this one, but they quickly discard that usually, and then it's pretty lighthearted.
Gotcha. Very cool. What about you, Johnny? Anything?
I'm catching up on an older anime called Bleach. It's been quite nice, and I'm listening in Audible to a book called, I think it's Shadow of the Empire or something like that. And some people may know in chat, there's this YouTube channel, Shadiversity. He talks about like medieval gear and stuff like that. He wrote this book, so Shadow of the Conqueror, actually.
Oh,
sorry.
Gotcha.
And it's a sort of a epic fantasy, really actually well written book, and it has amazing narration. They got some of the people who do the books for Brandon Sanderson, another
Fantasy writer.
well-known author. They got the people who narrate his books to do this, and it's really, really nice to just sit back and listen to that.
And myself, I have been doing I rewatch a lot of stuff because it's comfort while I'm working. Like if I'm doing research on something, like I did a bunch of research on Unreal versus Unity, the engines, and sometimes you're reading and it's like, I want something on the background, so it'll be a TV show, but it's usually just something I've seen. I have been rewatching, or not rewatching, but this is my first time through NCIS, which is as bad as I thought it was going to be. And by bad, I mean it is almost unwatchable. It is almost unwatchable, and I find myself getting really almost angry at the characters because it's so dumb. It's the typical, mystery of the week, kind of stuff, and just the characters are the dumbest. They have guys in the job who can't do their job because it's funny that they can't do it. And you're like, dude, they're a military investigative unit. What the fuck? Find something else to be humorous about. It's just bad, man. But it's been fun to watch something bad. And that's been enjoyable. And then rewatching and reviewing all the Marvel movies. I've been reviewing the Marvel villains, just going through each one of the Marvel movies and just hitting play on whatever one randomly pops up. And I think recently I got done with Spider-Man 3 as well as The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. And so just revisiting stuff mostly. There's not a lot new to watch. I do want to see Dune, but sort of at the same time, I'm a big fan of the original Dune, and I've heard that this new one's more like the typical over-the-top kind of whatever. And the original was so metaphysical and weird that was sort of what was enjoyable to me. So, by the way, thanks for the Bosch recommendation on. Yes, Creative. Bosch is awesome, man.
Bosch, man.
Yeah, Bosch is the shit. Like, that is a great. Alien says NCIS is sometimes entertaining. Yeah. And that's okay. That's okay. I'm not. If I was forced to watch this, oh man, some heads would be rolling. But Criminal Minds is way better than NCIS. Yeah, they're not really even the same kind of show technically. NCIS is that.
I don't
bad.
honestly. I don't know why I watched NCIS as much as I did back in the day. I think it was just inertia. Like I got used to it, and
and then I mean that's what we're like every night. I'm like, let's watch 2 episodes. Yeah. Gibbs is such a dick. He's such a dick. Dude, toxic. I'm not, like, I don't believe half of what we, where somebody's like, this was a toxic attitude, and you find out somebody was told to do something quickly. And they're like, I can't believe it. And they're crying. You're like, seriously, dude. But in NCIS, man, that guy, dude, I'd throw him out a window. Out a fucking window. You would absolutely kick the living shit out of that dude. It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous what he acts like. So at times I enjoy that because I'm waiting for that time when a character, he hits somebody in the back of the head, which is like a thing. I don't know why they find it so enjoyable to show Gibbs like hit one of his, second in charge in the back of the head. But one of these days, I want to see somebody just whip out a knife and just throat him right in the middle of a show, even if it's just like a fake, just dead bitch. Do you think Xbox is more focused on acquisition or second party dealings? Oh, I don't know that. Yeah. I'm sorry, man. I can't answer that. Josh is watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Oh, another one I'm rewatching is Last Man Standing because I got Cadiz to watch it. Dude, Last Man Standing is so funny. And so I've been rewatching that on the side, and it's so good. But I'm glad we have all these things. Like Reg says, sometimes you just need to defrag. Throw a TV show on.
Sure.
Last time I did that, I was going for the choice of games instead, so that's also a good alternative.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. It's so great to be able to do that, and there's so many, unfortunately, there's so many different streaming services. But you know, oh, that was another thing. I started rewatching Spartacus, and you forget just how sexy Spartacus is. And I don't mean sexy like they're sexy. I mean there's just a lot of sex in that show, and which, by the way, doesn't bother me. But like, you're playing it, I can get up to like make not even a sandwich, maybe just like pour some water. And by the time I come back,
getting boned in the background,
just railed. It's just everybody's railing everybody 24/7.
Yeah.
You're just like, it doesn't. And then people are pissing in other people's food, and you know it's so body oriented because these guys are dying. So, and if you ever meet anybody, like a lot of times military people will be this way. I know that a lot of people I know who are cancer survivors get they've seen it, they've seen the end. So there's a different. But those guys are so body-oriented, it just nothing phases them. And they'll be like banging somebody, looking at each other, talking about, you know, papyrus. And you're like, God!
Yeah.
Dude, come on, man. Yeah. Good times. Let's see. Oh, hey, I got some questions from the oh, man, I remembered. Okay, so here we go. Here's some questions from patrons. Terry M says, have you guys ever truly hated anyone? Have I truly liked anybody? Is your fucking question. Yeah. But have you guys truly hated anyone?
Yes, for a time.
Really?
One person ever.
Me?
No, for a time. No.
I mean, who knows, right? Like, but really, so you've hated somebody. Johnny, you're not a guy I would ever think would hate somebody.
Well,
really? You don't have to explain. You can if you want, but I'm saying you don't.
No, we don't have to, go into excruciating detail. But I had like lots of bullying happen to me in school from
one person,
and it really railed my high school experience to the point where it was like unrecoverable. And when I went to university, it was a blessing because it was like I get to reinvent myself. New town, new place. People don't know me, right?
Yep.
It's fresh. So that was amazing. But until then, it was quite, rough because of that one single person. So you kind of focus all of your, negativity on that one person, I guess. But
that absolutely sucks because I know a couple who have told me the same because I had a fairly awesome, but I didn't bully people, but I just wasn't, I was pretty big, so it was like, I think I got away with that. But I did see some people being bullied one time. And in fact, that's where a lot of my fights came from was like friends. Cause I had some nerdy friends that get bullied, but you see them and you're like, you forget that, it can fuck up an entire 4 years of their life. That's fucking rough, man. Yeah. Well, you came out. You're probably doing better.
But you know what it was, dude? I told myself, like, you know what, man? High school is not your time, and that's fine. And that's what it was. After high school, I sort of flourished. And, I mean, in my own way, within my frame of possibility. Yeah. But I really like myself and stuff. And so it worked out just fine. And honestly, that dude is like serving pancakes in a tiny shop, like
addicted to heroin in a fucking ditch somewhere, and we'll find him and pee on him.
Yeah. So I mean, it's fine.
It's good, man, dude. People will pretend that they don't like to see righteous vengeance and deliverance. I'm not saying you want him killed, but another 4 years of his life being ruined.
It's more like strategy. Didn't scale over time.
Yeah, right, so exactly. Tortoise wins the race, baby.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. What about you, Reg?
Strongly dislike, but not hate.
Really? Just school as well? Was this also school?
No.
Work?
That was not at school. Yeah, work.
I know. Yeah, there was it's hard to talk about work stuff because it's a little different than school. But yeah, work, definitely. There was one or two people where I was like, man.
Yeah.
It's so nice to not have killed somebody and got caught.
Yeah.
and got caught.
I
Dude.
don't know if I like that you added that last part.
Had to.
Does that mean?
Karak.
Cold case. Mysterious. No wonder I like that. That what is that TV show I always watch? The Unsolved Mysteries, whatever. From
exactly.
BuzzFeed. I'm waiting for them to.
notes.
I'm waiting for BuzzFeed, the two guys on BuzzFeed, to figure out where the body is. Dude, it sucks, man. I mean, I didn't have as many issues, but then when I have friends or whatever, and you start hearing about it, you're just like, man. And so I can't say like school stuff, but yeah, work stuff I can definitely say, especially if somebody has a spot. And by the way, I was a dick at work. I will fully own that I was hard to work with because it was a very militant style job. So you had to tell somebody, and I was pretty egotistical. So I was like, no, you will do it, blah, blah, blah. But this person I still remember them smiling to somebody and telling them something. And when they left, they turned around and said they didn't say what they said and got the guy fired. And I remember I was telling my bosses, I was like, dude, I was there. Like this happened. Like this person is completely unacceptable to be at this. And when you find out your bosses don't care, you're just like,
Yeah.
oh, I see. It's all a sham. It's
Yeah.
all polished
All
up.
up front.
It's all a front. Yeah, all a front. There are no witnesses if there's no one left to witness. Exactly.
That's how I play some of the Hitman maps. Yes.
Speaking of which,
They
let's see. Shane and Ryan, BuzzFeed. Yes, by the way, guys, I don't get a chance to watch a lot of YouTube. Watch Johnny's stuff. He watches my stuff. People on here will. But I don't get a chance to watch a lot of stuff on YouTube. Dude, BuzzFeed does unsolved, I think it's just unsolved crimes, and that is absolutely one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Vanilla Cold, will ACG do some type of review for New World? Yeah, hang on. Get in the queue. See you in about 6 months. No, I'm not reviewing that, man. Nope, it's unacceptable. Man, you guys stink. Sorry, my dog's farting. All right, another question. Let's see. Hash Assassin says, do you guys like the route that AC has gone in Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla?
Yes.
A full yes. A full yes.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. For me,
Yeah.
what I liked about the original ACs was not the gameplay most of the time.
Okay.
It was the setting, the traversal,
Mm-hmm.
and the architecture, exploring locations and shit. So for me, the gameplay recently has added a new layer of enjoyment,
Mhm.
which is I actually like the combat in it this time around. It wasn't terrible, it wasn't bad earlier, but for me, it wasn't like the type of gameplay that I enjoyed. So
It's rare to hear a full yes like that. Usually there's a caveat, so that's why I was surprised.
I think most people tend to be, bigger fans of the earlier stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
in the
What about you,
series.
Reg? Do you like it, or do you have a firm stance?
I was not a great fan of the earlier games, especially the map vomit that it always spews out.
Mhm.
For me,
right.
from the newer ones, Origins was probably the peak, and since then it's slowly been going down again. Yeah.
Borderline
I still finished Valhalla, but it's not feeling as good anymore as Origins did.
So, I mean, it looks like some say yes, a couple have said no, but I would say that when I go back and look at my time with Assassin's Creed, I had just as many misses in the old ones as the new ones. Like, I did not think Assassin's Creed 3 was good. I loved Rogue. I loved Syndicate. Unity was an abomination. And in fact, Ubisoft should pay everybody money, even people who didn't buy that game. That game was unacceptable for your top tier. It was a complete trash fest. Just wet, hot trash. And I'll never return to it. Ever. Ever. I won't even if somebody paid me, I would be like, no, I'm not returning to that. However, wasn't a huge fan of Valhalla, which I thought I would be. But the Vikings didn't control very well. There's a lot of bugs. in Valhalla. More bugs in Valhalla than I think I had in the other ones. So I think I've had hits and misses with both. They're different. They just feel a bit different. But I got to tell you guys, man, as somebody who's recently replayed them, because I was going to do a video about all of them, I had to quit playing the old ones.
That
no lie.
Rough.
Yeah. Oh, it was a bad idea. You know, that middle of the night, I don't know if you guys do this, but like
24-hour stream,
Dude.
No Man's Sky.
Oh God, what was I thinking on that fucker? But I laid down, right, and it was like 10:30 at night, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna do a walk in the walk for every one of the Assassin's Creed. It's gonna be like 18 hours. I'm gonna merge it, get it all, and I'm telling you, I didn't like them originally that much, but I don't know what I was thinking, and. Right. I got in there and I just started playing them and I'm like, these are crusty as fuck. They are crusty. Their control in 1 and 2 in particular is just rusted, bloated dick. I would never, ever, 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 ever tell somebody those were good. And I didn't love them when they originally came out. I liked them, but the same things happened. Valhalla. Dude, Valhalla, I had the video, the guys doing stuck together. I mean, you know, you're just like, dude, you guys aren't doing this right either. Ubisoft needs QA, man. And I would say with the older ones, until Unity, I didn't have that issue. Unity was the QA disaster. And from that point on, they've always felt a little like their ship is sinking and they just keep fixing it and then it sinks to the other side. And you know what I mean? They're just like,
a bit shaky.
Yeah, but again, Odyssey to me, I don't know why.
Yeah, fun,
dude. And it was just so much like Borak and fucking Origins.
Odyssey was certainly the best supported one with DLCs and patches
and story mode, or make us story
by
mode.
far.
Atlantis DLC, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Syndicate had almost spoiled that. Syndicate had Jack the Ripper. No, Spring Heel Jack, right? And then Jack the Ripper. Yeah, it had both. It had their DLC. Creative Monster says, wait, buy, never touch, rusted, bloated dick. It's true. But anyway, I'm glad people like the old ones because I do believe other games are offering something along those lines, if that makes sense. Not perfectly, of course, but guys, man, I used to hear people complaining all the time and be like, give Assassin's Creed 4 years. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's not, that's not the issue, man. It's not, because what you're basically saying is, I will suckle down the shit that you make if you let me have some space in between. And I'm like, what kind of fucking consumer is that? What kind of consumer is like, just let me forget. And then I'll just get onto the hind tit for a little while. You're just like, dude, what? What? If it's bad, it's bad. Ubisoft really delivers on Anno. I liked them, except Reg and I disagreed on the future one on the Anno games. What was that one?
20 something.
2077 or something, yeah.
Well, I think, wasn't there 2 future game ones?
Oh, yeah, dude, Josh did the Let's Play on my channel for you. He just reminded me, said, let me tell you about AC Unity's Let's Play. I'd rather have mono again. Yeah, he had to. That was back when he was doing some side, and I'm so glad I gave him. I'm a good friend. Hey man, want to make some videos for the channel? Sure. What do you want to do? How about you do Unity, then do Alakine's Gun, and then do Gene Rain? Man, that'd be evil.
Wow.
Yeah, good question, though. And then let's see. That's it. What do we got in Discord for questions, Jonna?
Got some great questions, actually, today. So, first one from Jay Saris. Hey, guys. I wanted to ask you all, who was your influence to get into gaming in the first place? The person who first introduced you to the medium. As always, thank you for being the gracious gentleman you are. Gracious gentleman.
Silver is no longer here, so you didn't know.
Well, I'm not saying anything. No, I'm just joking. Well, go ahead. Who got you guys into it?
I think that would be my father.
Oh, no shit.
He had his home office PC at work, and also work colleagues that had games, and sometimes he just brought games home with him. Yeah.
And that's sort of just
pretty
like you
much.
started seeing him occasionally. Was he playing him?
No.
Oh, I see.
No. I think it was more like that his work colleagues had like games and for their kids, and sometimes like they just gave him some.
That's very cool. What about you, Johnny?
I don't know if I had like, because I started playing games sort of by myself. It wasn't a person that, but I do remember playing Dino Crisis and Final Fantasy VII with a friend, where he would come over, we would have a guide, he would like read the guide and I would play the game, so we would like, team up to play it. And that for me was, I think, what solidified like getting deep into games or like binging games.
What about you guys in chat? Who got you into games if it was a person? I would say I'm probably not a person as well. I mean, my brother and I both got the Atari 2600 at the same time. So my brother got me into role playing, which probably had a connection to me wanting to do video. Wasn't a person. I predate video games, bitches. I mean, technically. Well, no, there was shit before the Atari 20. There was Oregon Trail. I was just going to... That's weird. Brian just brought it up. There was Oregon Trail. There was Apple IIe stuff.
Well, one of the earliest games we had was like that standalone Pong for the TV.
I had that too!
Plugged in.
Yes! Woo! Those. Okay, wait a minute. That would have been before Atari 26. Yeah.
That is definitely before anything.
Yeah. Okay, so there you So I would say it was my mom then, because she loved tennis on that fucking thing. She loved that, and then she loved Frogger on the Atari. And man, I hated Frogger. Fucking hate that game.
The only family game we had was, I think, the Winter Olympics, something, 1980, whatever that game was.
I remember reading a manual, and I don't remember what game this was for, but it had to tell you what character was yours because the graphics were so bad. In the manual, it was like the guy with the white dots is the main character, and you were just like, damn, that's bad. What else we got there, Johnny? Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to read some of these real quick.
Go for it.
My dad, brother, dad, mom, indirectly by my father, my dad, he got a 486 in the gold box games. Oh, Pool of Radiance, Dragonlance. Some legit classics. My late father, he brought me to his work and was busy there, so I'd play Prehistoric and Prince of Persia. Prehistoric.
That was a good one.
Oh, okay. Let's see. I got myself into this mess of games. Yeah, I think a lot of us probably got ourselves in. Okay, what else you got, Johnny?
Someone said Prince of Persia. I also played that. Yeah.
The old Prince of Persia's?
The old, yeah. Name Band, Name Band again says, Karak and Johnny, what avenue would you two currently rate the highest when it comes to supporting a streamer creator monetarily?
OnlyFans.
Patron. For me.
I guess Patreon is that the highest like take for you compared to?
Nope. But it's where I feel the safest that a person's not going to feel shorted out, because I can't review every game. And so if somebody is like, gives me money on, let's say, a membership for YouTube, what if they don't like podcasts, which we found out 2 weeks ago somebody didn't. But if somebody's a patron, that it's just a different level. And a lot of times patrons are more flexible. Because patrons are the ones who got me to do the podcast in the first place. Because I didn't have a podcast until we were patrons and talking, and we were like, hey, this is easier to talk. So I feel safer that way. I feel like the person can, and they can contact me if they want, and I know who they are. Like, I'll get DMs all the time or emails where they'll be like, hey, I saw your blah, 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 and I can't tell if it's real because spam is good. And so they're like, hey, do you want, would you ever want to do this or click on my YouTube channel? I'm like, I don't want my channel taken away. I don't want to click it and have Google authorization steal my channel or whatever. So, patron. What about you, Johnny?
I mean, people can sub to Twitch, where I spend most of my time if they like the content there. But honestly, what's like the most, I guess, like cool way of supporting me is if you check out my music. And if you like it, you can pick it up for a small price.
That's very cool. Yeah.
That's like pretty meaningful to me, like get people to kind of listen to that.
And that's why I always tell people Reddit, because Reddit not only equals numbers big time, but like when I did an audit for my channel, they were like, dude, you could beat IGN. There's these 4 places that you need to start doing stuff. And I realized those 4 places are places I didn't feel like I was like you said, like it was meaningful. I was like, oh, well, this is, Reddit's chaff. And they're like, it doesn't matter because you already created something that's worth sharing there. Now you need the people to share there or blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
And like you said, like when somebody buys one of my shirts, I'm just like, okay, that's cool. Because, I mean, yes, they could think they're supporting me, but you don't get, 80% of that goes to the shirt company. But to me, it's the idea that somebody bought merch that I'm like, okay, that's pretty fucking sweet. They like you have music. If somebody reaches out in that way, there's something about that feels more equal. Doesn't feel like somebody just saying, hey man, I love you, and throwing money and wanting you to strip. Though I would for money. Anyway, continue. What else we got?
I wasn't ready for that last bit.
I'm just saying.
Jesus Crust. Yeah, Jesus
I love Jesus Crust's name. Oh, it makes me hungry every time. Okay.
Me too. Oh, I love cheese.
So do I. And crusty when it gets fried and it gets like almost. Anyway.
Yeah. Happy Friday. Just a Tip podcast. Apparently, some of the games on the NVIDIA Games list leak were announced and confirmed. My question is, are there any games on that list that you would be very excited to see happen if it was to release?
Shit.
Hashtag Reg, pull it up.
Yeah. Exactly. Let's see. NVIDIA confirms leaked GeForce Now list is real. Okay. What was the...
We're going to look this up real quick, guys. Name Band again says, I honestly thought you guys would say merch. Lots of channels make bank. Yeah, I don't make bank. Ever. So.
GeForce Now. Let's try it different.
In fact, somebody got mad at me a couple days ago for doing something, and I was like, "Dude, I don't do like these 5 other things. I want to do one thing." Oh, it was timestamps. Timestamps ruin your review, like in watch time. But everybody else is running a shit ton of ads or doing fucking all this other stuff, and I'm like, "No, man, it's the one thing I want to do. I'm leaving." All right.
Okay,
All
so
right.
Red
You found it?
has shared with us a list here.
Yeah, I posted the link so at least Johnny can.
Yeah,
also look
I got
at
it.
that. Okay.
So acknowledging that we don't know what's real here, I want to make sure, was Ghost on there? Ghost of Tsushima?
Yep, God of War.
So,
Demon's Souls.
Yeah.
So if Ghost on PC, that's...
Yeah, and all of these would eventually come on PC, according to this leak. So, yeah, God of War, Demon's Souls.
I mean, Dragon's Dogma 2 is on there, and of course that would be like my major answer, but I just don't ever believe that that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be very surprising.
Like the one in the comments says, yeah, Dragon's Dogma 2, don't give me hope. Don't
Oh, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Yeah, damn.
Yeah, dude, like, I mean... It sounds weird, but I'd rather live in a state of consistent non-hope than in a state of of ruinous desperation to pretend Cyberpunk's good. Sorry, that's my opinion, Johnny. I know you like it, but that's the only one that popped into my head.
I like some stuff in it, but it deserves every bit of disapproval.
I just don't want to. Like, I want Dragon's Dogma 2 so bad that I don't want it. Like, if it happens, great, but. Sadly, no Bloodborne on PC on that list. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it isn't. Yeah.
Let's talk about 2 things. I swear to you guys, Bloodborne as a whole, and Red Dead 1. Those are 2 titles that you fucking consistently hear, and we don't see them. And it makes...
Why not, right?
Well, Red Dead had stories about that game barely holding together. Like, what they shipped... And, you've heard people complain that Red Dead feels the Red Dead game's mission variety isn't as open and stuff. And they've stated that's because if it was any more open, the game would explode. Like, shit, it's like we have to keep it tight. It could be. I don't know, Bloodborne. I don't know why with Bloodborne. Like, maybe... You
would think you could put a team to that, and that's just...
Yeah,
free
but
money,
you'd think
right?
Nintendo would do Blu-ray or Bluetooth. And, whatever you and I see... I guess they must run numbers and go, it doesn't make sense. But you and I are like, why doesn't it? They must feel that there's no, they've got other stuff to make too, obviously.
Right. Yeah, that may be it, right? They're like, sure, we would like to do it, but we're doing all this other shit that we currently are more excited about.
They're one of my good friends now. He's not in video games anymore. He left video games a while ago, and a couple months. And he and I were talking. He's like, dude, one of the reasons why he left was because his company wanted to do something new, and he wanted to do an older game. And he was like, it dawned on him that there was nothing wrong with that. There was nothing wrong with that. Like, that's exactly what people, but he really wanted, they had done an internal preliminary thing on a game that I loved, by the way, the original. And he's like, we wanted to do a sequel. We started working on it, or remaster. And when they decided not to, he's like, my love for this company sort of went away. Not in a bad way. It was just like, it's not my passion anymore.
Yeah.
What other questions we got? Unless Reg has one. Sorry. Reg, did we give you a chance?
So looking at the list, one of my top I'd like on PC would probably be something like Helldivers or Sackboy. So one of the Sony exclusives.
One of the Sony exclusives. So these people, Shane says no Persona 5.
Nope.
Reading some of these. No Persona 5, no Bloodborne. Persona 5 on PC, where is it? Man, I guess a lot of people want that. All right. Well, Persona 4 got released, so there's a chance, right? Persona 4 finally got.
I don't expect a Persona 5 on PC until we get like a Persona 6 on console.
Oh.
Yeah, and a PS5 patch for Persona 5 potentially, something like that.
Oh, all right. What else we got for questions?
So this kind of question from Norwegian Imposter. Karak, games are weird. Do you ever catch yourself going, my God, this is now like a full job? I'm just thinking because I've spent hours basically doing an Amazon warehouse on Satisfactory.
I don't know. I don't understand the question.
Well, I guess, like, do games ever become a chore?
Yeah, I
for you,
really
maybe
like that as well.
I guess specifically for you, because it is, a job, right? You're reviewing a game. Does it ever feel like it's stopped
I'm going to knock on wood here.
Yeah.
But once I had my first 3 or 4 jobs, I hauled steel, did a little bit of lumber work and a couple things. Every job I've been at, I was incredibly happy at.
Oh.
So it feels the same as those. I mean, you have bad times. But I loved my prior job. Like I said, if I hadn't got laid off, I'm not 100% sure I would have, and some of the reviews were doing well, but I was like, dude, it's real money for a job. I loved what I was doing. Yeah. I mean, if you like what you're doing, I mean, it's still a job. I guess the only difference is this one, I don't have hours, and that's pretty rough. I know family members, like my mom and dad probably think that it's not COVID that causes me to not go see them, which it is. They probably think I enjoy my job too much and that I don't want to like leave if there's a big game. And it's like, no, I'll leave. It really is COVID now. It's like, I just don't want to make them sick, and we have people coming and going.
Yeah.
But no, I don't.
Okay. This question from Doomerang. Are you no longer going to update on Apple Podcasts?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a couple of questions in the Discord as well. Apparently, the last episode didn't get uploaded to the.
I upload everything. If Apple doesn't do anything, it sucks. But yeah, no, we would never stop. Apple.
Yeah, right.
Apple, we don't get anything from them, unfortunately. But I have a bunch of listeners on those, and you guys get a chance to review them. But yeah, sometimes, just the occasional one where Apple won't. Like, it'll upload in one place and then it just won't go out. Yep. Maybe they're hearing me cuss. I haven't got any emails stating why mine would be more explicit than that one. I mean, there's chicks doing like, so I banged your dad, and it's an entire podcast.
Yeah, I mean, there's a podcast called like Dudes We
Banged, dudes we got railed by, or dudes we plowed or whatever. And you're just like, whoa, whoa, that's hot.
Okay.
Yep, it will never stop.
It's also missing on Spotify, so it's not just one platform.
So it'll never stop.
By the question.
So maybe there was an issue with the last update.
Yeah. One thing I will do is I won't worry about it too much. I'll upload it, and then if something happens and I'm not informed, then I mean, to be brutally honest, guys, I've been like working like 19 hours. There, people were like, "Dude, you went to bed at 11. You just DM'd everybody at 2 a.m." I'm doing videos, so usually I skew on that side.
This month is like,
yeah. And the last couple of weeks, I've just decided to do like if I'm having a good time, might as well do videos.
Yeah,
and, that's what I've been doing.
Cool. All right, excellent. So yeah, there are a couple comments about those. Next up, Cadiz says, as someone who has emphasized sound, music, and voice as a major review point from the beginning, how would you want the industry to improve or enhance these audio elements moving forward? And as someone who has been there from the beginning, congrats on the 6 years of the podcast. It's been great to see others get to know your love of gaming like I have.
Yeah. Josh and I have known each other for like 30 years. In fact, I think it was Darksiders for Sega Saturn when we were at a post at our old job that I bumped into and we started talking about video games. Yeah, I would say that we're starting to see it. Did you guys notice Horizon Zero Dawn? They had like 3 blog posts on Sony about the composers. I don't know if you guys saw that, but Eliza Chuck, who's been on here, he did Dead Rising 4, which I loved that. He and I talk all the time. That dude is genuinely nice people. Like, have you ever met somebody that you're like,
yeah,
that person is just, I mean, obviously you've met me, nice. You're like, that person is just.
You almost get angry with them like Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
Like they're too nice.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah, people are making Darkstalkers. Thanks, Josh. Yeah, so I love that. And dude, we're starting to see it where if I can do a composer, I'll put the dropout now in the review and like type in the composer's name. If they get kudos. And then honestly, the biggest thing, new voice actors. Sorry. It's time. It's time. Nolan North is Nolan North now. North. I'm sorry, guys. But when I know who's going to be the characters, I'm done. And when you see Spider-Man, Miles Morales, with one of the worst phoned-in fucking voiceovers, and you're like, why? And by the way, that's not... Half of the time, that's not the voice actor's fault. If the voice actor's been good, what that is the audio director's fault because they're getting almost starstruck. And you'll even hear it. Some of the best producers are really pretty revolting people in music. But they can tell a musician, they're like, you need to, fucking do this and do that. And
exactly
like Mutt Lang
like
was incredibly popular in the old days with like a Def Leppard or AC/DC. And he was super popular, but he was hard to work with. Because he was like, no, that's not good enough. You need to do it 200 more times. I would love to see more voice actors, man. Look at fucking Yong. And fuck off. I know people don't like Yong. I've interacted with him. He's genuinely awesome and does a news channel. And now he's got to be a voice in a couple games.
Awesome. Yeah. And he has a great voice, by the way.
He does. Dude,
yeah.
He does, by the way.
Yeah.
Jealousy is a hell of a thing on that.
Right?
On that.
The fucker was just born with that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are like, oh, blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, he's doing news and he gives his opinion. Fuck off. I would love to see more voice actors, man. God, that'd be so... I'm getting excited. Just the idea of... Can you imagine Last of Us 3 not sounding like Last of Us 1 and 2? Like, it would be so nice to have new people. Yeah. And there's even been times where you're like, is this... Batman had it. Was it Origins where they switched Batman and fucking Joker or something? Like, I think it was like Troy Baker was one and not the other. By the way, I'm sure people are like, think I'm dissing on these guys. I'm not. I just want a new group, man. I don't want the Critical Role jackasses doing every fucking game. Get Anthony and Gruber. I mean...
Yeah, he's good. He should be in way more stuff.
Should be in way more stuff. Sorry, I could go on forever. Yeah, I apologize. I'm done. Move on.
No, it's good. I mean, for example, for me, what I love to see is that more and more the OST or some of the tracks, there is more identity to them to the point where you listen to them and you go, whoa, who did this?
Far Cry 5.
Outer Worlds. The main theme has amazing identity. And now, I apologize. I'm blanking on the name of the... Justin thing. Not only a great guy, but he's got like some identity where, the stuff he makes has his mark, like Ostery Winter. Like lots of these guys have And when you go into a game, there's also a part of the direction, what they tell you to make as a musician. And if they tell you, we need a pretty safe generic soundtrack, that's what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
But I like that these guys are being given a bit more free reign to say, listen, make something unique, right?
Kina mixed
yeah.
mixed Indonesian and Thai and all that, and it came out. Look at Far Cry 5. I'm telling you right now, I don't know the starting song for any other Far Cry game.
The main theme,
that like main country bluesy fucking bluegrass.
I stayed in that menu for
it was
several
so
times.
good. It was just like, or look at Dragon's Dogma, that original when it's a wind is. I was just like, what the fuck? I will always remember being in here and having that play and my brain going, what the fuck
and
is
then
playing?
Being very disappointed that it never
and then they
got patched out.
Dude, those fucks with the patching out. Like, yeah. Anyway, yeah. As you can tell, that's what I'm hyped about because we've talked about this for like 15 minutes. Dude, you're absolutely right, man. It's so awesome to see. Where finally OSTs are a thing. Well, they were a thing, but what I mean is the world is embracing it, which is
also it happens more, I would say, because yes, OSTs have been a thing, but for something like World of Warcraft, like a huge production.
True, yeah.
Now also, like many of indie games have amazing soundtracks.
True. Yes. And Austin, hats off to him. That guy does indie games. He did the Alien swimming game. Was that game's music.
Abzu?
Abzu. Not Abzu. Abzu. I can't read this person's name because it's just an explosion, but he says Near Automata OST is awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's incredible.
Yeah. What else we got?
Excellent. Next question from Paco Luigi. My question is simple. What's everyone looking forward to this weekend? This is your moment to shine, Silver. Well.
Apparently he's railing a 10. From what Names Band again said 10, in the Super Chat. He's that's so what are you guys looking forward to this weekend?
Well, I'm kickstarting the second season of the interviews that I do.
I saw
like
that
my
on
own
your Twitter
little podcast thing.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like a series of interviews. So every week I'm going to be talking with a different person. And this week I'm actually talking with Dom, who was on our podcast some time ago. Really interesting dude.
Yep.
He has his own channel, and so that's one thing I'm pretty excited for.
Reg?
I don't know excited, but the biggest thing I'm planning is like looking for new kitchen equipment.
Nice.
Air dryer or air fryer kind of thing?
No, new cooking plates.
Oh,
because I have currently a single induction plate, and that thing's a joke. Like it makes me cry every time
because it doesn't heat up.
No, it's so shitty.
It's tiny,
and it's tiny, and like the heating area. Like I tried it. I put a pot on it, put some water in, and see how it heated up. And the circle where it actually heats, it's like this big.
Oh, that sucks.
So yeah, it's time to upgrade.
I mean, kitchen stuff. We got an air fryer. I was pretty happy with the air fryer. The stuff can be.
Yeah, dude, I've been rocking the sous vide. Do you know?
Yeah, I know what that is.
You've gone all in on that.
We do, but I don't have one.
Yeah.
But I know you mentioned it a couple podcasts ago, and I had just randomly seen some cooking shows where they were talking about making.
Yeah, it's been pretty exciting.
Now, poor Johnny's Discord, I assume, is just all pictures of him cooking, like buck naked in his apron.
Stuff.
I mean, yeah, I'm not too into the kitchen stuff, but yeah, like I said, the air fryer definitely, it didn't change my life or anything, but it was Grimblade that kept talking about it. He wouldn't shut up about it, and I was like, all right, I'll check it out. And then he gave me like a link of like a hot pink one or whatever. And I'm like, dude, I ain't putting that in the kitchen. And I bought a hot pink one. Whatever. I sort of dig it.
Well, the most important upgrade for any kitchen equipment is stuff that turns off automatically, where you just set the time and walk away.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Well, true. Yeah. And all my air fryers do that. It is definitely nice to just be like, and then, not have to worry about it. For me, looking forward to this weekend, games that I'm reviewing and I have some deck work of all things, which is weird that I'm excited for it. But we have a shitty older deck, and we bought the plates that you can put down that like look like decking, and they fit together. They sort of lock together.
Oh.
Because redoing a deck, man, my back, like I'd need like a week. Because if I did too much, I'd fuck up my back. I just know it. Especially because I'm an idiot, so I'll be like, I go full bore. Like there's...
Yeah. And you wouldn't notice until after, right? When you throw your back,
no.
it's like...
No, mine makes a pop. Like mine will be like, bap, and I'll be like, I'm fucked. I can't piss.
All right, we're done.
Dude,
we're done.
If people don't know how bad a bad back is, one time I was going pee, I was sweating from pain, from a bad back, where I was like, oh my God, because you can't push.
Right.
Like, because it's revolting pain. And I remember just dripping sweat off my nose, going like, this is fucking horrible. Bad back.
You never think about that when you're a young chap full of
no.
dreams and
I
illusions.
did. See, I hurt mine when I was super young. So.
Oh man.
Yeah. But yeah. So I'm looking forward to doing that and hanging out with my doggy dogs. But I don't look this weekend. There isn't much. Yeah, maybe watching a new show or something. There isn't a ton. I mean, a lot of work. But what else we got?
Next up from Nova Blue. Hey, was there any game y'all played where the bad ending made more sense than the good one?
Yeah, Mass Effect fucking 3.
Huh. Yeah.
I'll drop the mic on that one because the bad ending is the only ending that even slightly worked for me.
Yeah. I guess for me, like, I will say Life is Strange 1. And we're not going to, reveal the details, of course. But, there is a big choice, right, in the end.
Yeah.
And for me,
the
true. Choice I made was the only choice that made sense for me, which was the selfish one, let's say.
Yep. That's a good point. I would agree. People need to play that game, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Reg?
Yeah.
You looking up endings or looking up games right now?
I was like, maybe Metro, but I didn't really remember what the good versus bad was.
Are you talking about Exodus?
Yeah.
Yeah, Exodus is brought up a lot in this kind of conversation. I remember doing a podcast and like that was brought up a great deal of times. It is definitely a sore spot for people. Mm-hmm. A good ending on that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you had to do some specific things throughout the game to get the good one.
I mean, I don't hate it, but in that one, the good one didn't pay off. So I do hate it.
Oh.
For me, it's usually that the good ending I often find not good enough.
Yeah.
It's like I did all that shit and I still get like a kind of
It's almost like
ending.
they just expect you to do it, Reg. And so they put more time into the bad ending. And the good ending is like, congrats on doing what every other jackass is doing.
I mean, Pathfinder, for example. I finished that game and then I looked up like another ending of that. I was like, dude, come on. You need to do what? Like in chapter 1, you have to do exactly this.
Yep.
In chapter 2, you have to do exactly this.
Where it's just all completely accidental. And then also you could play it 100,000 times and maybe
then you
not
have like the perfect ending. Yeah, sure. Unless you looked it up first, you would have no idea.
What else we got, Johnny? Any others?
Colado says, any games at the start of 2021 that has you excited? I know it's early, but Elden Ring for me is the big game that has me hyped. Yes, a ton, right?
How many other questions do we have? I don't want to hold you guys to.
We have one more question.
Oh, okay, okay. Dude, Elden Ring's obviously one. There's a lot of fucking games in the first 3 months.
Horizon Forbidden West.
Yeah, that might be mine too, man. Horizon, I have a soft spot for that game.
Although they have a lot of water levels, that's never been good.
That has never been good. That's a good point. I had never
true.
thought about that. That is a very good point. Water levels are not.
Maybe they'll turn
great.
it around. Good luck.
If no one's turned it around and they do, that's going to
be a pretty big feat.
Yeah. It's going to be. That's going to be
maybe
phenomenal.
the Saints Row, the new one.
I guess Shadow of the Tomb Raider did okay underwater.
Right, but it looks to me like Horizon has a lot of water.
It's a whole deal. You're fighting
because you're fighting. Yeah, you're fighting.
It's like Mario water levels.
Halpy says something. He says, "Believe it or not, Riders Republic," which I get. dude, Riders Republic is coming across as like a game if you're into those kind of things.
Isn't that now and not next year?
I thought, yeah, but just so you know, yeah, I think it's this month. Riders Republic
Right.
is this month.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
Horizon Zero Dawn Aloy looks like she has mumps. That's funny. She does have some cheekbones. What else you got?
Actually, that was the last question because the other one was just commenting on
How good
something
looking
from
we are.
above. So
No.
yeah, we covered it all.
That one time I went in there and somebody asked a question and somebody must not have realized it was a question podcast and they just went on and on until Sleeve.
Yeah.
I saw Sleeve in there and he's like, guys!
Like,
Because I tell him, I'm like, dude, you can be brusque if you have to. And he's like, dude, what are you doing? Or when anybody posts anything on our Discord without a comment, just a picture, whew,
yeah.
man, Sleeve's on it. Sleeve won't even be signed in. You won't see him live. And then I'll go into the server metrics where you can see what actions people done. I'll be like, Citizen Sleeve deleted it.
Listen, I have a question for you, Karak. Do you
Sounds
listen
serious.
back to your reviews? Let's say you're done with your review, right? Do you listen to it before posting to, like, I guess check the final product after you
I have to
render it?
I have to master it. Like, you have to make
Okay.
yeah, you have to make sure the processing, the audio is at a level it can be. But that's pretty much. I mean, and make sure that you don't repeat yourself or something,
Right. So
Especially
you
'cause I
kind of
don't-
listen through it just to, like, spot check anything that may be off.
Yeah, but I mean, I have everything pretty much set up, and I do have a software program. It's very nice. It allows you. Well,
okay.
any software program technically lets you see the waveform, so you
Yeah.
can just look at the waveform and go, okay, it's not going above -5 dB.
I guess
We're good to
I
go.
was more thinking about, like, listening back to stuff that you make on the channel and be like trying to look at it from a viewer's perspective and, like, see,
I just think everything's bad.
you don't like your stuff.
Well, I mean, it's not that I don't like my stuff. It's that I know what I said. So why would I
Right.
listen to what I said again? If you mean to improve stuff, I already, I'm always like, everything sucks donkey
Already
balls.
thinking about it. Yeah.
So to me, I don't, when I look, I meter it, I'm like, okay. And then
Yeah.
I have the spit out from the review because you can get the captions because I've been starting to do captions, which I think is a big deal. Or it could be a
Right.
big deal, I guess. But
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But like, all I'm looking for is more. And I think if you listen to old stuff, you might try to do old stuff, which could be a disaster. Like, if I listen to, I'm trying to think, but if I listen to an old review, or a bunch of old reviews, one wouldn't do this, but I've listened to a bunch, I might start picking up that cadence again. And it's like
Yeah.
cadence naturally changes. Like, you get better at this, you get worse at this, because I don't
Yeah,
think we
it
get better all the
evolves over
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, and I listened to some of my older stuff, or one time a friend sent me one, and he's like, dude, I love this older video, and it was Somnium Files, I think.
Uh-huh.
He's like, this is hilarious, and I listened to it, and I'm like, it is. I can see why I might like it, but I didn't hit a couple things all I heard was stuff missing. I would
Right.
hear it and go, oh, when am I going to talk? I didn't talk about that in this? Fuck! And it just causes me angst.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So basically what I'm
Right.
saying is, in no way, shape, or form am I trying to improve. I'm just joking. I really do. You know how it is.
Yeah.
You don't want to listen to your own stuff too much. I mean, one of my
Yeah.
friends, or not
it's
one of my
useful,
friends.
but not. the
Well, it can
nicest.
be, but I mean, how much do you need to listen? It's not like a guitar. Or like
no,
you're
not
listening
a
to,
fuck ton for sure.
Yeah.
But for example, I did find for a long time I wasn't listening to stuff, and when I did, I noticed, for example, that I would say or little things like that more than I realized.
Yeah.
And then I went like, okay, I need to pay some attention to that, and I wouldn't have realized if I had listened to a few,
I mean,
tidbits. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, I mean, since I do listen to other people, sometimes I'll pick up on that and then be like, I don't want to do that.
Right.
Does that make sense? So,
Yes.
I mean, you hear a lot of movie stars say, "I don't like to watch myself." You'll hear, I don't know if you, and I'm not even that much. It's just that
you hear that quite often. Like, have you watched a movie? And they're like, no.
Like, no, I can't watch it.
I think it was Johnny Depp who was like, "Dude, I will run from the theater. I will run from the theater before." And I wouldn't say I'm that way, but most of the stuff I can remember what I liked or disliked. So yeah, well, in fact, I'm always looking to like add things. I guess that is one thing. Because, like, for a while, I'll do 25-minute reviews, and then for a while, I'll do 13-minute reviews. And I've had people be like, why don't you do it exactly the same all the time? I'm like, dude, I'm independent for a reason. I'm not IGN.
Yeah.
They have editors who are going to be like, you have to say this and do that and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, listen, if you don't want to listen to me, you know, rail on about railing chicks. Now rail is stuck in my head. I don't know why. Yeah. I know some people who probably do. It's good that you do, but you're a musician. Maybe you're listening for other things. I just don't want to hear myself. How would you do it, though? Like, wouldn't you? I'd be bored. I'd be like, I know what I'm going to say. Why the fuck? You know, and the ums thing, we all know that. Come on, Johnny. See, you're not English speaking naturally, so maybe that was something you didn't pick up right away. But I think most people, when they hear do you know what I hate I do? Oh, dude, let's talk about stuff we hate about ourselves. Let's mire this last couple minutes. Dude! Sometimes in podcasts, I don't know why, I'll go, and it fucking so frustrates me. I want to die inside when I hear it. I won't cut them out. They're in there. But some podcasts, for whatever reason, the dogs are messing around and I can't get a thought out. And you'll hear me go,
you need that little buffer to.
It's horrible. It sounds fucking horrible.
You know what's funny about that? I have not ever noticed.
Well,
so I
this
think
is
it's
just
one of
podcasts.
those things.
This is just in the, not in these podcasts, but in the patron ones.
Oh,
for whatever reason, because I'm bouncing around. Sometimes it's completely fine, no issues, and then other times, and it just, I hate that. Is there anything about what you do that you absolutely hate? Like when you're making a video that you like?
Yeah, sometimes I find myself looking to the distance. It's almost like I'm searching my thoughts.
Sure.
And so, because a lot of times I'm on camera when I do it. So
yeah,
it's like I'm looking at you for the video, but then all of a sudden I'm like looking at fucking outer space to look for the next thing I'm going to say. And that's just, for me, very distracting if I'm watching a video and someone does that. So I don't like that.
I can see that. What about you, Reg? What do you hate about yourself?
I'm perfect.
Do you ever look back at code, Reg, and go, how did I write this code? This code sucks donkey balls.
Yes, you always do. Like every time you look at something you wrote like half a year ago, you're like,
Really? Do you ever blame it on somebody else? Like,
it's like
somebody else was helping me with this one. That's
or if it's even further back, it's like, how did this ever work? Like, how does this heap of code that's completely unorganized by new standards?
Right.
How is that ever working?
So there you go. We all hate ourselves. That's a good ending to the let's roll into Friday properly. Abbreviated Reviews says, who, by the way, anybody doesn't understand, he does abbreviated reviews. Very funny stuff. He says, I have a thing that happens in my throat sometimes that I can hear in my voiceover. And so worse sound. It's really low, but I can't stand hearing it. I've had the thing where sometimes you'll try to talk over a crack in your voice.
Yeah.
And it gets it progressively, it's almost like anarchy and chaos theory. Nothing coalesces into more. And like, information is always like coming apart. That's the way your throat is. Like once it starts to go bad, you can't just fix it by talking through it. You just need to stop. And I'll just keep going and going. And finally it's like, code is always like that. I wouldn't know. I haven't written code since basic, and that was easy. 10, 20, 30, 40. And as I remember, my old teacher was like, dude, you got to leave some space. Because I was like, why don't you just go 20, 21, 22? He's like, yeah, if you need to put something in the middle, you're fucked. I was like, oh.
Yeah, because it was all like go-tos.
It was all go-tos. Go sub, baby.
Right.
Those were my jam.
Yeah.
It was like
nice.
20, go sub 20. Yeah. And if you, I remember Mr. Ford, God bless his soul, he was like, dude, you got to leave some space, at least 10. At least 10 lines, because if you don't leave a lot, and I was like 20, 30, 40, 25, 24, and then pretty soon he's like, yep, now you're screwed. There's nothing you can do about it.
You gotta move everything
Oh,
else
dude.
now.
What a disaster. Anyway, that'll be it from us. Thank you, everybody, for watching. You absolutely rock for sticking around. If you get a chance, check out the Patreon. Check out Johnny's channel. He's doing a podcast this weekend with Dom, who was on 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think 3 weeks ago.
I don't know
Or
why
maybe
my
a month
voice got
ago.
high,
Yeah.
but 2
Yeah,
weeks ago,
yeah.
2 weeks ago. And Reg will be watching anime.
Yeah.
And hopefully cooking stuff. With
And
a new
hopefully
plate.
cooking stuff that doesn't take 45 minutes just to warm up a
Exactly.
little bit of water.
And burn in the middle and still be raw on the
Yeah,
outside.
right. Raw, and it just center's just charred. Anyway, that's it for us. Thank you, everybody. If you get a chance, check out the channel. Pimp it when you see reviews or videos like this. Peace out.
Bye-bye.
I always wonder which one I should